Nunez said he had seen no information of a foreign intelligence surveillance warrant to monitor Trump. If you take the president literally, it did not happen. He said there are possibly other surveillance activities, referring to the communications related to former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn that were leaked. Asked whether the committee had seen evidence of collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia, he said, "I'll give you a very simple answer: no." On March 4th, Trump made the wiretap allegations in a series of tweets. The White House has defended Trump's accusations, but broadened wiretapping to broad surveillance. Representative Adam Schiff of California, the Democrats' ranking member on the committee, said he expects FBI Director James Comey to deny Trump's claims at a hearing on Monday. Trump said to German Chancellor Angela Merkel during a joint news conference on Friday at the White House, "On wiretapping by this past administration, at least we have something in common, perhaps." The NSA allegedly monitored phone calls involving Merkel and her aides. Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? Then you need Spendabit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spendabit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co today. Bitcoin merchants, ask about our merchant suite to reach even more customers. Spendabit.co. Reuters reports members of the U.S. women's national ice hockey team threatening to boycott the World Championship over a wage dispute will meet with USA Hockey on Monday. Players from the defending world champions will meet USA Hockey executives in Philadelphia in an effort to sort out the impasse 2 days before training camp for the week-long tournament begins. U.S. forwards Jocelyn and Monique Lemereau, Megan Dugan, Hillary Knight, Kendall Coyne, and defenseman Casey Bellamy will be at the morning meeting, according to John Langle, a lawyer for the players. Last week, the women's team said they would not report for training camp unless adequate progress in the dispute is made. USA Hockey then imposed a deadline of last Thursday for the team to decide whether to participate in the competition, which begins March 31st in Michigan, but the players opted to let the deadline pass. Players are under contract to USA Hockey only during years when the Winter Olympics are held and are seeking a deal that would compensate them during non-Olympic years. But USA Hockey has maintained that its role is to support players as they prepare for competitions, not to employ them. USA Hockey said last week the door remains open for a settlement and they are committed to resolving the dispute. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
It's The Onion Radio News. God loses his decision-making coin. This is Doyle Redland reporting. The Lord God has confirmed that he has misplaced his special decision-making coin. The coin, a relatively unremarkable 1972 nickel, has been used almost daily by the Supreme Being for over 4 billion years for the purpose of determining everything from the direction of the wind to the outcome of history. The visibly distraught God added,
"I have no idea where I put it. I remember flipping it last night for a couple in Monroe, Michigan, who were trying to conceive a child, but I haven't seen it since."
God also said he hopes to locate the coin before 7:15 Thursday morning when United Flight 251 takes off from Seattle with actress Dixie Carter on board. Doyle Redland for The Onion Radio News, online at theonion.com.
This is The Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live. Welcome to the program. As always, you can dial in toll-free. You can bring up anything that is on your mind. Our toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Normally, on Mondays, Melanie joins us, and she's here. Hey, Melanie. But abnormally, Mark is all of a sudden back in town.
That's right. I've rolled on in and just taken my seat.
You did, really. I mean, you kind of gave us a heads up last night, I think, that you were coming back.
I've known kind of when I was coming in generally for a few weeks, and I really failed miserably in letting anybody that I care about in New Hampshire know that I was coming back.
Well, you did say at the end of an Acapulco that you intended to come back within a few weeks.
Yeah.
So it has been a few weeks at this point, almost a month since an Acapulco. So yeah, just about three and a half weeks. So welcome back.
Thank you.
You went on the high seas for a while. You were on a boat that you had put a painstaking amount of time and effort into purchasing, and kind of got burned out on that.
Well, I mean, I I kind of wondered to myself what this seasteading thing, like, is it possible to find freedom on the open ocean and that sort of thing? Can you go, say, 12 miles out and, check out, be out there and be free and that kind of thing? I would say that that's probably possible in a boat that is significantly larger than my 35-foot catamaran. When we were out there, all I found was seasickness. We did catch some fish, but this boat, this boat isn't really made for that kind of boating. And frankly, I wonder how big you'd have to be to kind of hang out that far out and sort of.
What's the farthest out you should safely go with a boat like this? Then
you can go around the world in the boat that I have. People have gone around the world in things the size of canoes.
I see.
It's just that
it's not very comfortable.
No, I don't remember who went where, but somebody recently paddle boarded from Florida to Cuba or something. You can go anywhere you want. And a paddle board is a stand-up surfboard, essentially, with a big, long paddle. You look like guys from Venice. Oh, sole mio.
So you got seasick?
I got seasick many times. Once? Yeah, I did find
because of the motion of the ocean, so to speak.
Yeah, they call it seasick. Yeah. I found.
Did you puke?
Yeah.
Is that always what happens when you're seasick?
No.
Or can you sometimes just feel?
Most of the time, you just don't feel good.
Yeah. What about your family? How do they handle it?
Better.
Really?
Yeah. Laura is. I always say this wrong, but a very accomplished diver. I mean, rather than trying to say dive master or master diver or whatever the heck the term is. She doesn't have the certifications that she used to when she'd take people out.
They expire, right?
They do.
Yeah.
But she is a very accomplished diver. She's used to this kind of thing, and she just did better with it. Jack, he felt sick a couple times. I put on a bracelet thing that has a little nodule that pushes in on the inside of your wrist between the two tendons there.
What's that supposed to do?
It's supposed to prevent seasickness, and I can say that I did not get seasick after I put it on.
Huh.
We also didn't go that far out after I put it on.
I see.
There were just not that many. I just found it. I'm like, oh, this might work.
Now, where were you mostly going? Gulf of Mexico? Where did you? I know you took the boat down the East Coast initially because you purchased it in Connecticut or something.
We went from New London, Connecticut, to Charleston, South Carolina, and then Hurricane Matthew sort of came through, and we had mishaps. So we put it up on the hard. That's pulling it out of the water and putting it on
dry
blocks.
dock. Is that a dry dock?
Maybe.
Okay.
I don't know what all the terms are.
Right.
They just say put it on the hard.
All right.
And then I took it out on December 1st or thereabouts. We took it out in South Carolina, took it down to Sarasota, Florida, through the Okeechobee, down the Intercoastal Waterway. Well, we actually crossed a couple of times. So we crossed from Charleston to St. Augustine, outside of that's in the ocean, in the Atlantic. Okay. And then we got in the Intercoastal, and then we took the Intercoastal to the Okeechobee Waterway, which is part of the Intercoastal, and took that across.
I don't know what that is.
Well, there's a canal that separates all of Florida.
No kidding.
The bottom of Florida is actually an island.
Really?
Yes.
Huh. I lived there my whole life for 26 years.
I didn't know either. I didn't know either. Huh. There's a canal that all of Florida, the bottom, the South Florida is an island.
That's amazing.
Yeah, there you go. It's a man-made island, but an island nonetheless.
Okay.
It's like the island of Manhattan.
So you cut over through to the Gulf of Mexico at that point.
Yes. We were in the Gulf and then the Intercoastal alternately from Fort Myers, which is where the Okeechobee Waterway comes through, to Sarasota. And then we parked it in Sarasota for Christmas,
right?
Which turned out to be 5 weeks as we got a few things fixed. And, it had been a 7-week crossing. Yep. Things needed to be fixed.
Did you have to take barnacles off of it once you put it up in the dry dock?
I didn't want to go in Sarasota Bay in a bathing suit and scrub the side of the boat. I was just like, nope. I have too many big things going around in here. I'm not going to do it.
I see.
Once I could see in the water, I was willing to get in and sort of scrub the boat, but I just wasn't willing to do it when the water was murky, tannin, lake, river water. Nope, not going to do it.
So,
by the way, dolphins scare me, and I think
why they're nice.
Dolphins are evil.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are. They're they're just sentient enough to be evil, and they'll push you out to sea and try to kill you and stuff.
I don't believe that at all. Come on. That sounds like a terrible myth.
I don't know how many good dolphin stories versus bad dolphin stories are, but you've only seen the good dolphin stories.
So you've seen some bad dolphin stories?
Sure, dolphins will try to hump you and kill you as a result.
Dear.
Yeah, like a 1,200-pound animal decides that it's going to stick it in your ear or whatever.
That could be bad.
That's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Right. So and that's not what I'm scared of. I'm just scared of large things in the water. I'm scared of manatees. Anything. I just don't like large things in the water.
All right.
Yeah, but even if something's not trying to hurt you, if it weighs 5 times as much as you do, and it's not particularly intelligent, then it could end up killing you.
I did look long and hard for the bad manatee story, and I couldn't find one. There is no story of a human being, the best I can tell, harmed in any significant way by a manatee.
Now, how many phones did you lose over the
Only one
time frame? Okay.
Only one $500 phone.
And when I say lose, you know where it went.
Oh, I know where it went.
Yeah.
I put it in a dry box, clicked it shut, and the dry box's black rubber seal had apparently corroded or something, so that when I opened up the dry box, it was full of water.
So it was actually, I thought it fell off the side of the boat.
Yeah.
It?
Well,
No?
I just said drop my phone in the water for shorthand, but that's not what happened.
So where is this dry box? Like in the bottom of the boat or something where it like fills up with, like, where would it have gotten so much water?
This was a little dry box that my wife had for keeping her her snorkel or whatever, her face mask in, and it didn't need to be dry then, so I just grabbed it, not understanding that it wasn't functional as a dry box, and was using it as a dry box, and it didn't.
But how did it get so waterlogged if it was on the ship?
Well, okay. There's a boat that gets to the boat. So my
a dinghy,
my 35-foot catamaran is called the Sovereign Nation of Summer Breeze, right? And then the Sovereign Nation of Summer Breeze has its own navy. So we have a dinghy called the Navy. Yeah. And in the Navy, which is an inflatable 8-foot boat, water gets in it. It rains. All kinds of things happen. Just there's some, I don't know. Water gets in, and when you go quickly, the boat kind of leans up in front and leans down and back, and the water kind of goes towards the back. And if you have your
and the dry box,
there, which is just a tiny box back there, and it leaks, then pretty soon you've got a little swimming pool for your phone.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's what happened. So then we took the boat from Sarasota. I went down to the Keys. We went to Marathon, which is where we sort of landed, and then went up to Isla Morada, and then Pennicamp, which is in Key Largo. We did a bunch of snorkeling and had a wonderful time, and then basically retraced our steps back to Sarasota.
So on Mark's midlife crisis so far, you've gone to Belize, hoping that you could find some sort of, love for living in a place like Belize, and that didn't really work out for you. You kind of came back and
I liked San Ignacio, but you
didn't like the fact that there weren't roads or whatever, and I forget all the other things you said.
No, I'm just saying that you've got to appreciate the things you have in America, that there's a lot of nice things about living in the United States.
Right.
I can tell you that I categorically am not interested in living on a boat full time.
Right. So that's another one. Cross that one off the list.
It's a nice cabin on the water, and you can go places and do things, but not
Are you going to sell it?
No, I don't think so.
Not yet.
No, what?
Well, I mean, how much longer
just because you don't want to live in something doesn't mean you don't want to use it
and
keep it.
That's true.
You have a tent, don't you?
The toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. Yeah, but I don't have to pay rent to store the tent every single month. Which could probably burn on you.
It's a big, nice floating
That's
tent.
only kind of true.
There's more coming up here. You can take control of the airwaves. 855-450-FREE. Free Talk Live.
Have you ever thought you'd like to flip houses but didn't know how or where to get the money? Are you ready to be your own boss so you can start living the good life? Hi, I'm Preston Ely. I used to be so broke. I had my electricity turned off 9 times, but I figured out a way to quit my job and find financial freedom in real estate. For a limited time, I want to send you a free copy of my smash hit selling book, How to Get Rich in Real Estate. It shows you how to copy exactly what I did so you can make money from the comfort of your own home without even doing any manual labor. I've already given away 5,000 books and they're going fast. To get one before they're gone, call 1-800-960-3494. Listen, if you're sick and tired of stressing about money, this book could change your life. It's short, fun to read, easy to understand, and awesome. To find out how to get your free book while supplies last, call 1-800-960-3494. Call 1-800-960-3494. 1-800-960-3494.
Think about this. Your community's aging water infrastructure systems are very likely to be contaminated with heavy metals like lead, disinfection chemicals like ammonia, chlorine and chloramines, and pharmaceuticals like statins, pain meds, and antidepressants. And no, water treatment plants are not equipped to filter these pharmaceutical toxins out. Protect your family's water supply with the trusted Big Berkey water filter. New NSF EPA certified lab tests show Big Berkey water filters remove chloramines, pharmaceuticals, BPA, pesticides, bacteria, and viruses, all forms of fluoride, and much more. Big Berkey water filters are the original and most trusted on the market, the gold standard in water purification, and our filters last for years at less than 2 cents per gallon. Big Berkey, the one powerful enough to purify stagnant pond water. Get your Big Berkey today. Call 1-877-99-BERKEY or click BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. That's 1-877-99-BERKEY. Big Berkey Water Filters, for the love of clean water.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. You can take control of the airwaves here. You can bring up anything that you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And you can join us on Skype at Skype username LRN.FM. You know, Bitcoin.com recently reported that Bitcoin transaction fees have increased by more than 1,200% since 2015. That's not good news. To many Bitcoin proponents, the current fee market is moving way too fast, making Bitcoin unusable for certain transactions, like smaller ones, for instance.
Right. A lot of times, if you're running a business and say you're, I don't know, maybe you're like Local Burger here in Keene, New Hampshire, that accepts Bitcoins for small meals, $10 or whatever is their, the ticket price. If you are going to move out your Bitcoin, you decide, I'm going to take my Bitcoin, I'm going to cash it in, I like the rate right now, and I'm going to get my money. That guy with all those transactions is probably going to get hit really heavy as far as fees go. And that was one of the selling points of Bitcoin in the beginning was, hey, low transaction fees beats MasterCard and Visa.
And so Bitcoin.com says that the fee market and slow confirmation times have also increased tension concerning the block size debate, which is ongoing. However, if there are wallets with low amounts of Bitcoin that can't cover the fees, they become virtually unspendable. You can learn more about this over at news.bitcoin.com. That's news.bitcoin.com. In fact, I know, Mark, you actually have some information from a news story tonight from bitcoin.com that you wanted to share, and I think we should get into that here shortly. But first, we go to Hung Like Jesus on the line in Georgia. Hello, Hung.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hey, everybody. I don't have anything really. I just wanted to say I'm so glad to hear Mark is back. I love all the co-hosts, I really do. But Ian and Mark together that's like Free Talk Live to me. You're like the peanut butter to Ian's jelly.
Oh God!
or
At least I get to be peanut butter. Peanut butter is so much better than jelly.
I like marmalade, orange marmalade.
Yeah, I figured you would. What about you, Hung Like Jesus? What's your preference on a peanut butter and jelly sandwich?
Actually, I like grape jam.
Grape jam?
Now,
Grape
what
jelly?
is the difference between jam and jelly? Does one have like pieces of fruit in it and the other doesn't, or is there no difference?
I guess it could have pieces of fruit in it, but jam is easier to spread. Jelly is like Jello. Jam is
smoother,
thicker, and I guess you can say smoother. It spreads easier.
All right, good to know. I've learned something tonight.
Well, thank you for the vote of confidence. I am glad to be back.
Now, were you calling in beyond any other "Hey Mark" kind of call?
Actually, that's not it. I've been really good. I haven't been. I've been triggered, but I've been keeping my trigger finger away from the phone. So.
Well, that's bad for us, though. We want people to call in when they're upset. We want people to call in when they're feeling passionate or triggered or whatever.
And that's when you're going to teach us something too.
Yeah, maybe. But
maybe.
I thought I was calling in too much, and I thought I would just give other people a chance.
No, man. I mean, look, we appreciate hearing from anybody out there. I mean, if you call every night, then you become a chronic caller. But some chronics are better than others.
Well, even if you call every night, if you have something to say,
right?
Other than I hate traffic cameras or I like traffic cameras for the 8th time in a row.
Yeah.
With no reasoning.
Listen, I have something that's been on my mind.
All right, that's what we want to hear. Go ahead.
How is it? I know it's been like this since politics began. But how is it that so many people can be so passionate about being so wrong about something? I mean, it's like, to me, it's like, what is it like? It's like this whole Trump presidency is more so to me of revenge than anything else.
Yeah.
Because it's just so bad. It's just so right. I mean, it's just so corrupt. I mean, what is it? It hadn't even been 2 months.
It's a mess. Is the guy going to get impeached? I really would like to know.
I don't think he's going to make it to 2 years. I really don't.
It looks there's a good chance that the Trump administration, somebody in the Trump administration, or maybe up to Trump himself, colluded with the Russians to, during the election. And that is just that's bad stuff, right?
Especially if you running on "Make America Great Again."
Well, it's not like countries operate in isolation. I mean, they
do not
conspire with each other like everybody else.
Sure,
of course, that is the case. But this would just be so flagrant. It would just have to go down in history as some.
I think that's Trump's thing, though, is to just be flagrant, just like be as obnoxious as possible, and then people will vote for him out of spite.
I don't even think he does it on purpose. I think he's just so self-centered. I think it's just the way he. I don't think he even realizes how ill he is. I don't think he even knows. I think he's just.
Well, he's probably surrounded by a bunch of yes men, like all politicians are, and so he's only in an echo chamber. And of course, there are people who will tweet nasty things at him or whatever. But it's easy to ignore the haters. Once you get to a certain point, you can just shut them out. I don't know. It's interesting. It sure is entertaining. It's way more entertaining than any other presidency.
Yeah.
It's entertaining, and it bears mentioning every single time that Trump wouldn't be president of the United States if the Democrats hadn't allowed Hillary Clinton to attempt to throw the DNC.
Exactly right.
I mean, I am kind of glad that I don't have to listen to Hillary for the next 8 years because that would be really annoying. I mean, and if they're both going to kill people and rob people and bomb people either way.
But Trump's making Obama look like a peace prize winner.
Is he really? Is he doing a lot of bombings?
There's a lot of, from what I'm seeing at anywar.com, that's absolutely
right.
The
But
truth.
I really honestly think that Hillary would have bombed people just to prove that she's
manly enough.
Right.
Yeah.
She's a girl and she can bomb too. Right. Hey, Hung, thanks for your call tonight, man. I appreciate hearing from you as always. Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE.
And in Trump's defense, I'm glad that today was the hearings for Neil Gorsuch, who's going to replace Scalia there on the court, and I think he's a pretty darn good choice. If you're a mainline Republican picking a person to be a judge for the Supreme Court, I think that this Gorsuch guy is about as libertarian as you can get in that area.
That is a meaningless statement. The idea that a Supreme Court judge is in any way libertarian seems ridiculous to me.
Well, Brennan kind of was for criminal purposes, not so much for economic purposes.
Sure, you can probably find that to be true about some of them, right? You can pick out
but
where
it's not like, oh, you had a libertarian ruling, because that doesn't really mean anything in a vacuum. But Brennan was pretty libertarian from a criminal defense standpoint, although he was not at all that from an economic standpoint.
Let's go to Phil in Michigan. You're on Free Talk Live on Skype. Hey, Phil.
Hey, I just want to say welcome back to Mark. I was glad to see that he made back from the TSA without getting harassed too much.
Yeah, I lost 3 knives on the trip to Anarchapulco and back.
Bastards.
Did you lose them on the way back or on the way
both.
to?
Yeah, one of them, the credit card one that folds out into a knife. The Mexicans got that from me. I didn't even know I had it.
Okay.
In commemoration of Mark coming back, I've re-upped my amplifier that I put last year for financial reasons.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
And I was wondering if you could tell me how others could get involved with the AMP program, Mark.
Absolutely. So what the AMP program is a program where you can support Free Talk Live and our mission of spreading the ideas of liberty far and wide. The more it's really just about dollars and cents. The more dollars and cents we have, the more places that we can get distributed. And we don't use these for paychecks. End of story. This is about distribution.
Daryl gets paid because he does affiliate relations work.
True. But we
you
need
and I
him
do not.
for that.
You and I do not.
Right.
And that's the business.
freetalklive.com/amp.
That's correct. Or amp.freetalklive.com. Thank you, Phil, for the call tonight. Let's continue with some issues here. We're going to get into those coming up. Specifically, one about Bitcoin.
Did you know there's a new group of water contaminants with unknown health effects? These emerging contaminants lurking in your water may include prescription, over-the-counter drugs, and new types of herbicides and pesticides. ProPure's improved Pro 1G 2.0 filter meets NSF 401 standards to help reduce these emerging contaminants. To find out more, visit your authorized ProPure dealer or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Teens radio show. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgoristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agorist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agorist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any tomfoolery. So go with AgoristHosting.com. And if you want to get your foot in the door with decentralized marketplaces, Agorist Hosting is now offering Open Bazaar hosting. Go to agoristhosting.com, click on the button that says Get Hosted. Agorist Hosting, that's AGORIST hosting.com.
There's no better app for tracking the value of cryptocurrencies than CoinCap. I've had a lot of apps for tracking Bitcoin, but none that's ever been able to track 500 digital assets at once. Their best feature is the Altfolio. I love this thing. You enter how many Bitcoins, Ether, Dash, Doge, or whatever else you have, and it tells you how much your crypto is worth. You can watch yourself get rich. If you have crypto, go right now to coincap.io, or you can use the Apple Store or Google Play to get the app. I love CoinCap. coincap.io.
Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
Are you tired of brown rust stains on your toilets, sinks, and clothes? Does your water smell and taste bad? Don't live with these problems anymore. HydroCare's revolutionary well water systems, available at Wave Home Solutions, gives you clean, healthy, great-tasting water from every faucet. They remove iron, hydrogen sulfide, sediment, and many other contaminants that are distasteful and damaging your fixtures. You'll be amazed how fresh and clean well water can be. Satisfaction guaranteed. Go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can dial toll-free to join us here. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Still to come here tonight, Mark has a story about Liberstad and Bitcoin. What is Liberstad? Well, many of our listeners probably don't know, because I think we've only talked about it maybe once or twice at the most. It's not to be confused with Liberland, but the project does have some similarities. We'll tell you more about that coming up here in moments. And Mark, I know you were upset because you didn't have a chance to comment, and Melanie also, about favorite peanut butter and jelly or jam preferences.
Yes.
So go ahead with that.
Well, first off, I'd like to say that all that stuff is a lubrication so that the peanut butter doesn't stick in your throat as you swallow.
It's also a sweetener, right? It's just a lot of sugar.
Right? So's peanut butter. Come on, man. Have you ever looked at the people who call peanut butter protein are not able to read?
Well, you can buy real peanut butter though.
Yes.
It costs like twice as much. But
sure, my wife does, and it separates, and then the oil's on the top.
You got to stir and stir.
You dump out most of the oil, and then you mix it.
It's offensive.
You're not supposed to dump the oil out, though.
I mean, but it makes it less greasy.
It's offensive. I've just decided, look, honey, I'll eat all the kale and whatever organic stuff she cooks and all that stuff, but I'm going to eat my peanut butter. We're getting a second jar of peanut butter, and we're going to have some Jif in the house.
Jif.
And when I feel like having, because I don't believe the peanut butter and jelly sandwich is a meal. I think it's a pastry.
It's a snack.
Yeah, it's a pastry.
It's
a donut as far as you look at sugar and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So, but on the boat we ate quite a few of them because they're easy to make. And
sure,
if you're getting sloshed
they keep
around
for a while too.
Mm-hmm.
The peanut butter, bread not so much.
My preference is Smucker's blackberry. Smucker's blackberry, whatever it is. I don't know if it's preserved jam, jelly. I don't know.
And Melanie.
I mean, the realest stuff I can find, preferably grape jelly, but
what's the realest?
Well, for jelly, that would just mean like no corn syrup, no vegetable syrup of any kind. Peanut butter pretty much can just be like crushed peanuts, like the not organic necessarily, because that's just extra money
for no reason. You do the whole food thing too,
but
yeah.
Just kind of the less sugar, just basically peanuts.
Gotcha.
Preferably if I feel like paying for it. Otherwise, you can find peanut butter without corn syrup in it that still has the high sugar, but it's cheaper than the actual, what I'm going to call real peanut butter, but yeah.
I enjoyed the peanuts on the airplane that we had in Mexico. Do they still do peanuts on United States airplanes?
Yeah, they're really good because they have honey on them.
Okay, because I didn't know if they could do it with like all the peanut allergy people around if it was too
One flight
risky.
I was on, they announced that they weren't going to do peanuts because somebody on the plane
was on board.
had a peanut allergy. I think they ask you that when you buy a ticket.
Okay, could be.
I've never been asked that.
And then they give you cookies.
All right, so anyway, if you want to comment, you're welcome to on food preferences, but also we've got news about Bitcoin and Liberstad still to come here tonight, and I do want to let you know about my pillow, which is definitely my preference. to go to sleep on, which did you have your MyPillow down on the boat?
Yep, everything. The MyPillow traveled is in my bag now.
Yeah.
I just don't want to sleep on anything that's not MyPillow.
It's a great product. I've been using it now for almost a year, and it is designed to fit to the shape of your body and hold your neck in the proper position. It's fantastic. You can also wash it, put it in your washer and dryer. It's designed for that. You can go to MyPillow.com, use code FTL, like Free Talk Live, to get one at half off or two for the price of one. So up to you how many you get there, and you do have 60 days to decide whether you like it or not. If you don't, you send it back, they'll send you your purchase price back to you. And the pillow, if you do keep it, is guaranteed to last for 10 years. So they really stand behind their product over at MyPillow.com. Code FTL gets you the half-off discount. As we continue, of course, we'll take your calls and thoughts. You may dial in toll-free. Our number is 855-450-FREE. And you can Skype in at Skype username LRN.FM. So, Mark, what is the story here? Liberstad, not to be confused with Liberland. Liberland being about a 3-square-mile plot of land, basically in a swamp between Serbia and
Croatia.
And Croatia, thank you. In the Danube River.
Danube, yeah.
Yeah. That is a future project to where libertarian types are supposed to be moving to that plot of land. They've run up against some difficulties with the Croatian government arresting them for going on to that particular area. And I haven't heard anything recently from the Liberlanders, and unfortunately we missed Vit Jedlika, who is the president of Liberland. He was apparently at an Acapulco, but I never, I didn't see him.
I got to talk to him briefly.
Oh,
he said he was going to be on the show, but he's busy like anybody.
Sure. So what's Liberstad in comparison?
Coming from Bitcoin.com, written by Kevin Helms, libertarian city Liberstad in Norway is moving forward using Bitcoin as primary currency.
Now, let's be clear. That's a great headline, but it's not a city.
Well, it's a proposed
is anyone
city.
living there at this point?
Not a city.
If anyone's living there, it's somebody in a tent, and they're very cold, right? Because there's nothing in this place.
A project in rural Norway, Liberstad, aims to create a private, tax-free city for libertarians who respect the non-aggression principle and private property rights.
That's awesome.
Holding a pre-sale now, the project's organizers accept Bitcoin for land and plan to make it the city's primary currency. Bitcoin.com talked to John Holmesland, the general manager of the company that operates Liberstad, or hopes to operate Liberstad, to learn more about how the project is progressing. Holmesland and his team started looking at properties for Liberstad in August 2015 and found pardon me, my Norwegian not great, Tjelland Farm with the approximate size, location, internet and electrical connection, water supply, and good construction ground, and no permanent residence in the surrounding properties. That's what they're looking for, and that's what he told Bitcoin.com. An agreement was made to rent this property until May 19 to give them time to sell at least 15 hectares of plots, then buy the property for 5 million Norwegian kroner for the pre-sale, which started on August the 15th last year. Each plot of 1,000 square meters, that's a hectare, right?
1 hectare is 2.47 acres.
Yes. 2.47?
That's what it says here.
Good size. Okay. So each plot of 1,000 meters, now that's a kilometer, a square kilometer, costs 35,000 Norwegian kroner, about $4,000. And the reserve price is 7,000, that's $800. If the land sale target
for some woods
is reached. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But they're saying there's internet out there?
I guess.
Huh. All right.
Development will start June the 1st after rezoning and waiting for the government to approve the development plan. Holmesland estimates the full development could begin within 24 to 36 months. During that time, the team plans to build roads, campsites, and concert areas for landowners to use free of charge. Initially, the team aims to create a completely private city where all land is privately owned and the public services are provided by private actors through voluntary means.
But there's still the Norwegian government that has dominion over this particular land. I don't remember when we first talked. It's been months since we talked about Liberstad, so I don't recall what if anything, they've negotiated with the Norwegian government or the state, or there might be some sort of canton, or I forget what the divisions are in Norway, but there's some kind of government gang going to be around there somewhere, right? So
at this point, it's very difficult not to find that, and we have that in New Hampshire.
Well, that's what makes the Liberland interesting, because they've claimed a no man's land. They've claimed an area that's supposedly not claimed by either Serbia or Croatia.
They're still negotiating with governments for recognition.
That's
right?
true.
And they're going to go to the UN to some extent for recognition.
Right.
I mean, governments don't exist in a vacuum. You're used to living as the United States, where they tell the whole rest of the world, you do what we say or we're going to bomb the hell out of you. If you do what we say, we'll give you a nice big check. Like, that's how they do the whole carrot and the stick. But the rest of the governments in this world, they don't function in a vacuum.
Mm-hmm.
They function with having to negotiate with other governments for things. If you look at Liechtenstein, Andorra, the small governments that are out there, Mallorca, these sorts of places, and you see how they function, they're constantly in negotiations with other governments, which means that those other governments have some level of dominion over them, right?
Now, doesn't Disney World have its own municipality?
Celebration is the city that is in where they sell houses in Disney.
Mm-hmm.
Celebration.
But is that like a Disney-run municipality?
You can believe they have to obey Florida laws there, and if there's a murder, that the Orlando County Sheriff's Department or the Orange County Sheriff's Department is going to probably be in there doing some investigation. Sure.
Our toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. More about Liberstad coming up here in moments. You can share your thoughts. It's a different project than Liberland. It's interesting. More coming up. Free Talk Live.
Bitcoin.com is the most unique online destination in the Bitcoin universe. Buying Bitcoin? Do it here. Want to speak your mind to other Bitcoin users? Our forum is always open and censorship-free at forum.bitcoin.com. There's no bigger Bitcoin believers than the Bitcoin.com team. That's why this site is a one-stop shop for everything you need to get into Bitcoin life. You can also play games at games.bitcoin.com. Learn more at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com.
Attention investors, 2017 is the year of Trump, and financial markets are rising at all-time highs. But economic uncertainty may be greater than after any election in our lifetime. And as retirement approaches, there's little time to recover your losses. You need to hedge against uncertainty. That means transferring part of your retirement to physical gold and silver stored where you can actually hold it in your hand and get it fast in any disaster. It's a perfect time to buy. Prices are low and expected to climb. Make Augusta Precious Metals your personal gold and silver provider. Augusta cares for your financial position and helps you make good decisions. And they're A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. Get Augusta's free gold and silver IRA guide. What you learn could help you weather any economic storm. There's no obligation. Just call toll-free. Call 855-222-5857. That's 855-222-5857. Again, 855-222-5857. Trust Augusta. Protect your retirement today.
According to locals waiting for a 66 bus in downtown Chicago last night, a young couple was making out in the passenger shelter like they were in Paris or something. Onlookers spoke to reporters about the pair, who carried on their passionate embrace for over 20 minutes, as if they were in some sort of goddamn candlelit bistro tucked away in Montmartre.
It's been almost a half an hour and they're still going at it. It's like they think they're sitting on a sun-dappled picnic blanket in the Tuileries Gardens. I mean, where the hell are we? The Champs-Élysées?
The pair's marathon makeout session, which took place in downtown Chicago and not, as frustrated onlookers emphasized, on a cobblestone street in the city of lights, featured intense gazing, deep tongue kissing, and other gestures of affection typically reserved for a couple strolling down the banks of the Seine River.
You know, for a second there, I honestly thought we had all been transported to Parc Monceau, drinking flutes of champagne on a wonderful summer afternoon while being serenaded by a Parisian accordion player. But no, we're at a bus stop in Chicago.
This is the Onion News Network.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial toll free. Join us on the radio. The number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And if you support Free Talk Live, one of the ways you can directly support us, besides downloading and listening to the show and sharing us with your friends or family, is by going to shop.freetalklive.com. And when you enter shop.freetalklive.com, you'll go to Amazon, likely. There's also Walmart and a couple other links there. But there's 3 Amazon links, one for Amazon Canada, one for Amazon US, and another for Amazon UK. You go to the right one for you, get your shopping taken care of, and feel good because not only are you getting the same great Amazon deals you're used to, Free Talk Live is getting a portion of the purchase price when you start your shopping at shop.freetalklive.com. Mark, you're telling us about Liberstad, which is a proposed project that's going to get rolling pretty soon here. They're on a fast track. I'm actually surprised at how quickly this is going, because a lot of these libertarian move here, we're going to change things for the better projects, have a very long-term vision, whether it's seasteading. I don't know where they are right now.
I believe they've gotten a contract with maybe Fiji to create their floating island city.
Off of the coast of Fiji.
Yeah. Well, within the territorial waters.
Yeah.
The thing is that you can't now even territorial waters. There's just no place to go.
There was one group that wanted to do something in Honduras, but that got rejected by the Supreme Court.
But there was still an opportunity for that to happen. Maybe there's some retraction. The legislature changed something.
I don't remember what that one was even called at this point. I know we had the dude on, but it's been a while. So we haven't heard anything about that. And then there's
Free City Project, Free Cities,
okay.
Free Cities.
And then there's Liberland, which is that's 3 square mile area in the Danube River over by Serbia and Croatia.
What I like about
that's long term. They're not even breaking ground on that one yet.
And the Free State Project is a project to move 20,000 liberty-loving individuals to New Hampshire so that they can argue with the government for more freedom. And
that's been going for a while, though. That one's
they've been
actually
arguing
happening.
a long time, yeah.
Yeah, that one's actually happening. There are things happening there. There are people moving to New Hampshire. But this one, this Liberstad, they're selling plots right now, and then they're going to break ground as soon as the summer. Is that what you were telling me a moment ago?
Yeah, well, yes, they expect something much more firm in 36 months or something, but yes.
Oh, okay. I thought they were ending their sale in 60 days.
Starting to put roads in and that kind of thing. Well, once you get the roads in, then you put the houses in.
Well, that's breaking ground, right? You got to break ground to put a road in.
You do.
Who will build the roads? Apparently Liberstad.
In Liberstad.
Lots of people will build roads if you don't arrest them for it.
Right.
Basic city services such as kindergartens. It's interesting that you would start there.
That's not really the kind of service I want from my anarchic society.
Mm-hmm. Schools, hospitals, retirement homes, private security services, garbage collection, arbitrary courts, insurance companies will be provided on the internal market or through voluntary organizations free from any tax, force, or coercion, as described. There have been over 500 inquiries, and at least 120 people have placed an order, Holmesland revealed from this group. 63 people have paid the deposit so far. Liberstad residents can become members of the Liberstad Internal Market Business Registry, which is a closed market exclusive for residents. Holmesland described residents can use whatever medium of exchange they want except for national currencies. He elaborated, noting that Businesses wanting to accept Norwegian kroner have to follow the Norwegian law and regulations and pay tax and VAT. Holmsland conveyed, adding that they may also have to register with the Norwegian Business Registry. One business can have 2 registrations.
That's if they're accepting the kroner.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
One with
the idea is if they accept Bitcoin or some other cryptocurrency, that they would somehow be exempt from Norwegian business registration.
That's the idea. Is that if you're not doing business in kroner, you don't have to get you pay the taxes and get all the licenses.
And they said it's going to be a private market, which means that they don't want people to come buy stuff there from outside. They only want the people from within.
I don't know what he means when he says it. Remember, there were there's some level of translation going on.
Language barrier, right?
And private means not government, perhaps.
Well, he said it was only for the residents, which seems strange.
Well, what are you going to do?
But then again, they are out in the middle of nowhere.
Where are you going to buy electrical services if you're not a resident, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Liberstad team has established a Norwegian registered nonprofit corporation called Liberstad Drift AS, which is Liberstad's operator to provide and facilitate the city's public services. Now, I wonder if you, other than putting up solar panels or windmills or whatever, which windmills tend to be nearly universally disappointing, but other than putting up solar panels, how are you going to get electric besides buying it from their monopoly?
Well, it says here that on their website, Liberstad.com, that connection to the electrical grid will be voluntary. So you can generate your own electricity or you can buy it from the grid, which, as they said, they were trying to find a plot of land that I guess was remote, but also still had electrical running by it. So they will be able to be connected.
Yeah. So Liberstad can accept both the kroner and Bitcoin. VAT and other taxes that the state requires will be added for all kroner transactions. So they're doing things by the book, but they're recommending use Bitcoin or some other cryptocurrency in order to avoid the taxes. And I think that's pretty interesting. I can tell you in the United States, that we have rules on even trade. A radio station I worked for had to file taxes just for getting script for trades.
That's annoying.
Yeah, so they had to pay taxes on meals that they never bought, if that makes sense. Anyway, we use BitPay for all our Bitcoin transactions. We will also advise all other businesses in Liberstad to do the same, Holmsland said. In addition, Liberstad Drift AS plans to give discounts to customers paying with Bitcoin for all of its services once Liberstad is up and running. This is to encourage people to start using Bitcoin. Liberstad's future plans include educating and spreading information about economics and the benefits of the free markets and free market money. We also plan to use blockchain technology as a registration system for contracts, property deeds, IDs, and more. Moreover, the team contemplates establishing their own local currency for the internal market, which is backed or tied to Bitcoin, so the transactions are faster and cheaper and probably don't even have to go on to the Bitcoin network if they're right there getting mined. I don't know how it will work.
It sounds like an interesting project. I mean, I definitely want to keep an eye on it out there and see how things are going. And, of course, what would be most interesting is they said they've, had 60-something people do down payments so far? The odds that one of those 60 people are in the audience, I don't know if they're that great, but if you're out there, it would be interesting to hear from someone who is signed up for this, somebody who is, you're throwing some money down for this to kind of walk us through.
It's $800 to get started.
That's a relatively low barrier.
It's $4,000 commitment, though.
Yeah, that's a relatively low barrier to entry as far as like buying a little cabin or something like that.
There's no cabins. You'd have to put something up.
They are mentioning here on their website. I mean, I'm guessing the 800 doesn't include anything.
I'm sure they'll hook you up with somebody who will provide you with a tiny house.
It says here, we'll set up a cabin village with both cabins and plots of various sizes. Plots can be purchased for as little as about $4,300. So that doesn't include the cabin, but they are talking about having something like that they will facilitate for folks.
Sure. They want people to go to the city, and they want to, they have a grand plan, but at the same time, the land isn't a place to live. I've had land, and I put a house on it, and there was like $150,000 difference between land and house.
Yeah, exactly. So, like I said, it would be interesting to talk to somebody who's going through this process and, learning what their experience has been like. Because there have been, I'm not saying Liberstad is one of these groups, but there have been some, let's say, questionable projects
like in
out
Chile.
there. Was that one of them? I don't remember where they all were.
Yeah,
but
Chile was one. Berwick, it was in some way associated with it, yeah.
Yeah, and so, like, you got to be careful with these things. Obviously, if you don't know who you're dealing with, then you're just transferring thousands of dollars worth of Bitcoin to them.
Right.
Buyer beware, I guess, is what I'm saying. And how you do your due diligence about this. Presumably, you'd want to, like, go there and look at the property, I would think. But I don't know. It'd be interesting to hear how somebody's handling this.
Just as a general rule, anyone who's promising you immediate anarchy utopia is lying and either delusional or committing fraud. And probably committing fraud.
Yeah, that's an interesting point.
So any of these big plots of land are like, oh, we're free of government. I mean, even the FSP is like, we'll be free of government, in less than 80 years because they have that weird in your lifetime clause that they add on.
It was supposed to be in Lloyd's lifetime, and Lloyd's dead. Yeah, sadly.
Right. So, even that is suspect, but you're not really giving them anything for that.
That's true.
You just
move
here
up.
and, you live a better life because you're here, not necessarily because they did anything.
Yeah. I don't understand how they can promise no taxes. I mean, somebody's going to be paying taxes. Presumably, Norway has a property tax. I'm just guessing.
They're just talking about business transactions, the VAT and that sort of thing. Yeah, you're going to pay some kind of tax on the land, I would presume.
But it's going to be a corporation, right? Like there's a company that's going to own the whole thing. Isn't that right? And then presumably they're going to be paying the tax?
I don't believe so.
The toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. Maybe you know more and you can enlighten us. This is Free Talk Live, and you can take control of the airwaves. Do you need a website for your blog or new business? It can be pretty intimidating on your own, and that's why Free Talk Live has partnered with HostGator, one of the top hosting companies. HostGator offers a simple one-click, easy installation for WordPress, 24/7 over-the-phone or live chat tech support, and a very intuitive, user-friendly control panel that puts the power of creation back into your hands. Go to HostGator.com/FTL, and you'll get 50% off of their regular hosting prices. 50% off. HostGator.com/FTL.
A funny thing happens when you don't advertise. Nothing. Modern advertisers have been trained to look for trackability in their advertising, and web search ads are great for that. They also help you get the consumer that's looking for products like yours in the moment. But they're expensive, and they do nothing to convince people to try your product segment in the first place. If you're a local advertiser, contact this station. If you can use national exposure, Free Talk Live's on more than 150 stations, and we can help advertisers with little budgets and big ones. Send me an email, mark@freetalklive.com. It's mark@freetalklive.com.
My name is Jacob Hornberger. I'm president of the Future of Freedom Foundation, which Congressman Ron Paul awarded for having an outstanding freedom website. Write us at fff@fff.org, and we'll send you a free 3-month subscription to our monthly journal of libertarian essays and our booklet, Economic Liberty in the Constitution, which George Mason University economics professor Walter Williams praised in a recent column. That's fff@fff.org.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster, so be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darrell W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Monday, March 20th, 2017. Silver is trading at $17.39 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,231 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 1.1 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $1,052. Antiwar.com reports it's being called an insider attack in some reports, but an incident on Sunday in Afghanistan's southern Helmand district, in which 3 U.S. soldiers were shot and wounded by an Afghan soldier, does not appear to have involved an infiltrator as most previous incidents have. Colonel Mahmoud Rasulzadeh, an Afghan army spokesman, insisted the soldier made a mistake and had not deliberately fired his gun. The soldier, as yet unidentified in public statements, was apparently killed in the incident. Because of the size of the Afghan military and its low low pay, recruiting standards are very low, and this has allowed a number of Taliban to infiltrate, steal weapons, or use their access as soldiers to carry out attacks on the rest of the Afghan security forces. Attacks on NATO troops were a lot more common a few years ago, though rule changes now limit foreign troops' contact with the rank-and-file Afghan forces, which has meant most such insider incidents have been Afghan-on-Afghan violence. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports the Republican leader of the House Intelligence Committee, having reviewed information from the Department of Justice, said Sunday he has seen no evidence that the Obama administration wiretapped Trump Tower, as President Trump has claimed. Devin Nunes of California said in an interview on Fox News Sunday, "Was there a physical wiretap of Trump Tower? No, there never was." On Friday, the DOJ said it turned over information sought by congressional committees, which requested documents for any potential court orders or warrants related to Trump, his campaign surrogates, family, or friends. Nunes said he had seen no information of a foreign intelligence surveillance warrant to monitor Trump. If you take the president literally, it did not happen. He said there are possibly other surveillance activities, referring to the communications related to former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn that were leaked. Asked whether the committee had seen evidence of collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia, he said, "I'll give you a very simple answer: no." On March 4th, Trump made the wiretap allegations in a series of tweets. The White House has defended Trump's accusations, but broadened wiretapping to broad surveillance. Representative Adam Schiff of California, the Democrats' ranking member on the committee, said he expects FBI Director James Comey to deny Trump's claims at a hearing on Monday. Trump said to German Chancellor Angela Merkel during a joint news conference on Friday at the White House, "On wiretapping by this past administration, at least we have something in common, perhaps." The NSA allegedly monitored phone calls involving Merkel and her aides. Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? Then you need Spendabit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spendabit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co today. Bitcoin merchants, ask about our merchant suite to reach even more customers. Spendabit.co. Reuters reports members of the U.S. women's national ice hockey team threatening to boycott the World Championship over a wage dispute will meet with USA Hockey on Monday. Players from the defending world champions will meet USA Hockey executives in Philadelphia in an effort to sort out the impasse 2 days before training camp for the week-long tournament begins. U.S. forwards Jocelyn and Monique Lamoureux, Megan Dugan, Hillary Knight, Kendall Coyne, and defenseman Casey Bellamy will be at the morning meeting, according to John Langle, a lawyer for the players. Last week, the women's team said they would not report for training camp unless adequate progress in the dispute is made. USA Hockey then imposed a deadline of last Thursday for the team to decide whether to participate in the competition, which begins March 31st in Michigan, but the players opted to let the deadline pass. Players are under contract to USA Hockey only during years when the Winter Olympics are held and are seeking a deal that would compensate them during non-Olympic years. But USA Hockey has maintained that its role is to support players as they prepare for competitions, not to employ them. USA Hockey said last week the door remains open for a settlement and they are committed to resolving the dispute. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Following the conclusion of yet another day marked by a litany of tedious and unavoidable realities, The Onion spoke with sociologist Dr. Timothy Coghill, who told reporters that the nation would be forced to go through all of it again tomorrow.
As our projections demonstrate, tomorrow, like today, every man, woman, and child in America will wake up and do it all again. All of it, including traffic, the workday, bad coffee, your kid's soccer game, laundry, the struggling economy.
Statistical evidence also showed that the nation would once again endure traumatic childhood memories, Twitter, anxiety, poverty, consumerism, rampant abuses of the legal system,
joint pain, racial inequality, global warming, the steady erosion of civil liberties, violence, loneliness, disease, unresolved intimacy issues, the ravages of age, hunger, sexual frustration, existential dread, the looming specter of death.
For more on this unending story, check this week's Onion Review.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. Coming up, we're going to talk about cheating in moments, but we're still talking about the Liberstad project, the idea to build a liberty paradise or something like that in Norway, in the forests of Norway. And it's an interesting proposal, and it is not too different from some of the other liberty enclave projects that are happening around the globe. We're going to continue with a little bit more about that. With you tonight, it's Ian.
Melanie.
And Mark.
Their website, by the way, Liberstad.com. What brought all this up was an article over at Bitcoin.com about how they are talking about making Bitcoin the national currency of Liberstad. I guess the idea is that Liberstad is going to be its own little country inside a country.
That's the notion. I mean, they're not there yet.
Yeah.
At this point, they're talking to the local government, the Marienmald municipality, and this place doesn't have property tax. So, I mean,
that's amazing.
I think they're about to.
Yeah.
If enough people move in, they certainly could, but the Liberstad team, of course, can't make any guarantees of success, but they're hoping to keep the government, no property taxes involved.
Mm-hmm.
So the problem is that what's the Reagan quote about, if it moves, tax it. If it moves, tax it. If it stops moving, subsidize it. This kind of governments work the same everywhere.
Of course.
And if enough people move to, this Liberstad,
they're going to want a piece of that action.
Marendal province, even if they don't use any public facilities, people are going to be like, hey, we need to get some of that money.
Absolutely, especially if there's a market there and people are doing business. The government always wants to get a cut of the action. They don't care, if they're providing any kind of value, they just want to cut.
They'll say something dumb like, hey, well, we educated the kids around here, and you guys are using our plumbers and our electricians, and people are going out there to do work, and, they wouldn't be very smart if we hadn't sent them to schools, so you've got to pay for the schools.
Mm-hmm.
They always have something, some way to, something they've got to say. I'll be like, hey, I got private educated in another state. Does that matter? No! They never have. They don't make any sense.
All right, so they're saying though that right now there's no property tax. That's interesting. So what else?
Well, that's it. Basically, there's two more libertarian land projects that also propose using Bitcoin as their primary currency. This is Bitcoin.com.
Mm-hmm.
The most famous is Liberland, a whole startup country being developed on a small plot of land between Croatia and the Czech Republic. Lesser known, but further along is Fort Galt in Valdivia, Chile.
They were a sponsor of Free Talk Live a little while back.
Yeah, and successful, and they've got they're moving along, and
I just went onto their Facebook page to say, hey, what's going on with Fort Galt? Because I haven't heard anything. But then again, I haven't been subscribing or anything like that. Looks like they're going to be doing construction very soon over there.
Yep, getting started. So I like that there's all this churn. Mm-hmm. Lots of people trying to do these things in lots of different places. I like seasteading, certainly like the Free State Project. I want these places to be successful. I think that people should go in with open eyes. It's certainly not new, the idea of buying a piece of land and creating a libertarian type city someplace. You got to look where you do this. It would, in the United States, I'm of the opinion you have to have a state, or at least a protectorate, a province, or something like that, because a county or a city, it's just not good enough. The state's just going to come down.
I mean, as far as like a take over this place kind of project.
Yeah, well, I mean, even if you built your own.
Yeah.
Let's say you move to Glades County, Florida. I believe there's, 20,000, 30,000 people that are in the county. Mm-hmm. You start your own municipality in this big old county, and you're just like, hey, leave us alone. Even if you could negotiate with Glades County to leave you alone. The state of Florida is not going to.
Right.
This state that's 20 20 million people strong is not going to just roll over because you want to have your own private city.
Hell no.
It's just not going to happen. So you have to start at the state level in the United States. I don't know what it's like in Canada or the other countries around the world or these sorts of places. Many people claim that you can just get freer simply by leaving the United States. I don't know. I kind of like the United States. My experience is I enjoy being here. You really loved Mexico when you were there, right?
I liked Mexico, but then again, I was only there for a few days. And
Right, and I don't think that's fair because going and kind of vacationing in an impoverished country isn't really an accurate snapshot of what living there is like.
And I realized that about my experience there was very limited. We did get out a little bit into Acapulco. We went and visited Angel Clark, who was one of the talk show hosts on LRN.FM. She's actually been living down there for 3 years. For 3 years at this point. And she probably wasn't the best person to talk to about living there because she admitted that she doesn't leave the house. So,
really much at all, no.
They've got a Mexican driver named Jesus who takes them around when they do need to go somewhere, but mostly they send him to do their pickups or whatever. If they need something, they need some alcohol or they need some groceries or whatever.
Thank you, Jesus, for our food.
Yeah.
And he's a great guy. There's no doubt about it. But I'd be more interested in being out and about a little bit. Now, there's this concept of being free called permanent traveler status, where you're always a traveler in a given geopolitical designation, and even if you're moving from one to another and these kind of things, and so you don't. You basically you're always on vacation in the sense that you would know what it was like in Acapulco because that's where you'd be. I mean, most of the, what was it, $600 she was paying for rent, utilities, and all that stuff in her previous location. It was very inexpensive to live there.
Yeah, I think she'd moved up to a more expensive place for like $1,000 a month, and that included the maid.
Everything. That included the maid, yeah. And who she wouldn't get rid of because she was, I don't know, weird or something.
Yeah. So, I feel like places like Liberstad and Galt's Gulch are going to be a little bit surprised with what happens with the government down there. I mean, at some point, even if the government's playing nice right now, that can change in a heartbeat. If they decide they want to get a bigger piece of the action, they'll just come in there and wave their guns around and do what they need to. Now, you could argue that governments in, let's say, more impoverished countries, and I'm sure, Norway, one of the more wealthy countries compared to, let's say, Chile, that governments in poorer countries are more likely to, you could argue that they'd be more likely to live the rich gringos alone because they want you to be spending money.
It seems to be how it is in Mexico.
Well, that's how it is here, too. It just means something different to be rich in the States than it does in Chile or Mexico.
Right. Well, I mean, any of us would be considered wealthy in a place like that. As compared to the average person down there.
Anybody who's making $1,000 a month through the internet is wealthy in Mexico.
Right. And of course, you would have to be able to make some money remotely in most of these places. In fact, they talk about that.
You're not going to do it with carpentry.
Right. On the Fort Galt website, they point that out is like you need to have some sort of funds coming from outside because you can't just go and get a job as a waitress in Chile
and expect to make good money.
Yeah, and make any good money. So there is that. If you've got a job in a place at a company, then you're pretty much, unless you can do it remotely, then you're pretty much SOL as far as these things are concerned. Which is one of my problems with some of these concepts is that it's not something that's really duplicatable. Like the average person cannot buy a plot of land in Chile or Norway and build their own house there, right? The average person is working at a job, they've got a career somewhere, they might be making payments on a mortgage or something like that, but the average person is not in a financial position to be an international traveler.
Many people would argue that the average person is a few decades from poverty, from unemployment.
A few paychecks, you mean?
That robots will be taking the average.
Decades in that way. I see what you're saying.
The average person's job in a relatively near future, and that we all need to provide something on the internet in order to make money. And I don't know. We got lucky with Free Talk Live, making a little bit of money here and there because we're sort of the standard bearer for libertarian shows now, but hey, it's it isn't easy.
Sure, but I wouldn't say, it was luck. It was work. Calling radio stations, calling sales clients.
I think there's a lot of people that you could try to do the same work now, and because of timing, we got luckier.
Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. You can join us on the radio. This is Free Talk Live.
Today, how to incorporate your business in just 10 minutes so you won't lose everything if you get sued. Step 1, stop putting it off. If you're not incorporated and someone sues your business tomorrow, it's not just your business at risk. You can lose everything: your home, your car, even your life savings. Step 2, call the following number for a free 10-minute incorporation guide from Incorporate.com. 1-800-940-9829. They don't provide legal or financial advice. They just make incorporating quick and easy. So you can incorporate or form an LLC in just 10 minutes. That number again is 1-800-940-9829. Step 3, congratulate yourself. By taking just 10 minutes to incorporate your business or form an LLC, you protected your home, your car, and your life savings. And that is how you incorporate your business in just 10 minutes. But hurry while they're still giving away these 10-minute incorporation guides for free. Call 1-800-940-9829. That's 1-800-940-9829.
Attention investors, 2017 is the year of Trump, and financial markets are rising at all-time highs. But economic uncertainty may be greater than after any election in our lifetime. And as retirement approaches, there's little time to recover your losses. You need to hedge against uncertainty. That means transferring part of your retirement to physical gold and silver stored where you can actually hold it in your hand and get it fast in any disaster. It's a perfect time to buy. Prices are low and expected to climb. Make Augusta Precious Metals your personal gold and silver provider. Augusta cares for your financial position and helps you make good decisions. And they're A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. Get Augusta's free gold and silver IRA guide. What you learned could help you weather any economic storm. There's no obligation. Just call toll-free. Call 855-222-5857. That's 855-222-5857. Again, 855-222-5857. Trust Augusta. Protect your retirement today.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your get intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu. 641-793-9660.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Dial in toll-free and join us on the radio. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. 855-450-3733. Joining you tonight, it's me, Ian.
Melanie.
And Mark.
So we're going to change gears, get away from the Liberty Enclave discussion, and get into cheating. in a moment here, but also want to let you know that when you get 50% off of HostGator, it's definitely not cheating. That's an awesome deal that is available to you because you're a Free Talk Live listener. What you do is you go to HostGator.com/FTL. That's /FTL like Free Talk Live. HostGator, one of the top hosting companies out there. They have a 99.99% uptime rating, 24/7 over the phone, and live chat tech support. They've got a simple one-click, easy installation for WordPress, so they make it really simple to get your website going. Maybe you're completely new to starting up a website and that's been holding you back. Well, HostGator makes it easy. They've also got a very intuitive and user-friendly control panel that puts the power of creation and the simplicity of use into your hands. Get started over at HostGator.com/FTL, HostGator.com/FTL for 50% off. That's 50% off. You guys were discussing cheating and liberty. Like cheating as far as, people cheating on their loved one in a relationship or under some sort of monogamous agreement.
Or poly agreement. Not that I'm a fan of that.
Because you can cheat in that.
But
yeah.
I've heard that they have rules, and if you break them, you're cheating.
Yes, I've had cheating happen in poly relationships. Absolutely. So without asking what sparked the conversation, let's just talk about, okay, why were you talking about this? Or how do we get into this discussion? How do we get into this on the air?
Yeah, so we were talking...
Because it was you guys, I wasn't really...
A relatively famous situation where some celebritarian apparently, got caught with some woman someplace, right? And I don't care about the specifics. I don't want to talk about...
People cheat.
Yeah, they do.
That's just what people do.
It doesn't matter where their status or station is. This is oftentimes cheating is breaking up without all the heavy lifting. It's just how many people sometimes go from one relationship to another, and you got to decide for yourself what that means to you. So, Melanie, I thought I've heard your arguments before in the past given by other people. They were never so cogent and so well articulated as when I've heard you articulate them. So if you would, please.
What are we arguing? Okay, what are you arguing for or against?
Well, that cheating is a NAP violation.
Non-aggression
principle.
And So it kind of depends on what contract you have. So if you have a contract where, we go out and eat sometimes, and I sleep with you, and I really don't care what you do, and then from that end of the spectrum all the way to you have a non-terminable, lifelong monogamous contract, it kind of depends on what you have.
But wait a minute. How many? I'm sorry to interrupt, but how many people actually have a contract who aren't married? I mean, we know
isn't marriage a contract?
Well, not necessarily a written contract, but anything you agree to is a contract.
Well, now you're talking about verbal agreements, which get messy.
They're contracts.
Yeah,
they are messy.
I understand that, but the problem with the verbal agreement is frequently both sides will misremember what the agreement is, and so therefore. Yeah, it's a contract, but not really, because there's no way to actually know what the terms are. It's all in your head.
Well, and I think people kind of vary on that, because some people, I think, will go into something without kind of explicit terms, and I honestly get called weird for that a lot, or other things. But, if you the more explicit you make it, the more, not really protection, because the NAP doesn't really give you protection, but the more
enforceable.
I guess enforceable.
Clear.
Not that I would advocate enforcing that, but
well, I don't want to get muddy here. Ian, would you agree that 90% of Americans who are in a marriage believe that marriage is monogamous?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
great.
It's in the vows.
There's no particular reason to go into the convoluted status. Sure, some people will claim that going to a strip club with a friend for their bachelor party is in fact a cheating on me. I can't believe you do such a thing.
Well, see, I don't understand how people didn't break that out ahead of time. What?
They probably did, but
some people think looking at a member of the opposite sex is cheating.
Hence burqas, right? Some people find that it's just all this is unacceptable. I'm just talking about regular American, good old fashioned, making the monster with two backs cheating. Okay, I'm nothing weird here, nothing to convolute the argument. Cheating. Like everybody knows what cheating is.
Yeah.
That's what we were talking about, and that's where we're going from.
Yeah, so I think it's clear clearer if you're talking about an actual marriage, because anything other than that is definitely terminable. Some people look at marriage as terminable, some people don't. So I guess it kind of depends on what you agree to up front, regardless of whether or not it is you are legally able to get out of your contracts that you signed or agreed to, if that's what you agreed to. And even if it is terminable, so if I work for a job for a salary and I just quit showing up but keep cashing the checks, so unless you go out and cheat and immediately come home and tell your spouse what happened and leave, and I don't think that's what most people do, then you're still committing fraud.
Hold on. I've got a friend right now who's dealing with this. I'm not names and places are not going to be mentioned, but she's of the opinion that her husband, with whom she has not had sex in years, cheated on her by whatever it is that he did. I don't want to get into the specifics of it, but that he cheated on her. Did he cheat on her? I mean, if she has decided that, we're just not going to have sex anymore, and he didn't decide that, exactly how does this work, right?
Well, what were the terms? Was there a term?
No, there weren't any terms. The term was, having to hold and richer and poor, the whole thing that anybody else did.
Sexless or sexed.
I think most people kind of have an idea of what they're implicitly agreeing to on that spectrum, though.
I'm willing to say that it's more cheating if you choose to have sex with both your spouse and the new person at the same time, exposing everybody to a new myriad of social diseases that they weren't intentionally exposing themselves to.
I mean, so if your argument is that I could say in a weird way, and it's still accurate because, this is philosophy, not feels, that it's defensive cheating and therefore not a net violation, or maybe not even cheating because she violated the contract first. Okay, fine. I know that I would have much less bad thoughts about a person in that situation than I would about somebody who just decided that they needed extra people in a contract where they contracted to have only one person. So, but I kind of get the idea from most libertarians that they don't really consider this. A lot of them, for the most part, they consider it to be a problem, most of them, but they don't necessarily consider it to be a net violation, and I think that it is. Because
why is cheating, whether you're in a marriage or not,
encapsulate it,
a net violation?
Counselor.
A non-aggression principle
it's
violation.
easier to explain if it's a marriage, because then we have
marriages.
A better idea of what the contract actually was, even if we're going to argue about the boundaries. But,
yes.
So if I own my body, and if everybody owns their body, if everybody has self-ownership, if you own something, that means you can alienate it, alienate parts of it, restrict your use of it through contract.
Right.
So if you do that, it no longer fully belongs to you. So if you give away what does not belong to you, that's typically considered theft.
We're going to continue. You're going to have to recap this. 855-450-FREE, and we'll get deeper in, and you can share your thoughts. 855-450-FREE. You can take control of the airwaves as well. Your thoughts on cheating. Is it a non-aggression principle violation or whatever?
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. I'm here to tell you about GCNtelecare.com. A team of board-certified doctors assisting you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Within 15 minutes of registration, care your family can afford. Revolutionizing the healthcare industry, virtual consulting providing diagnosis of non-emergency medical issues by phone or secure video on computer or smart mobile devices. GCNtelecare.com. Virtual care anywhere.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Adam Pulaski of the Pulaski Law Firm with principal office in Houston, Texas is the attorney responsible for the content of this ad. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states.
Attention Xarelto users. If you or a loved one took Xarelto and suffered a serious bleeding event, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Xarelto is a popular prescription blood thinner used to prevent blood clots and protect patients from strokes. These serious bleeding events have led to numerous cases of hospitalization and even death. Phone lines are open 24/7. Call 800-261-0937. That's 800-261-0937.
Fact. The new NSA data center in Utah requires 1.7 million gallons of water every single day to operate. Billions of Fourth Amendment violations need massive computers and the water to cool them. That water is being supplied by the state of Utah. Fact. There's absolutely nothing in the Constitution which requires your state to help the feds violate your rights. Our message to Utah: turn it off. No water equals no NSA data center. Visit offnow.org.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nesquik. Try Nesquik 4-packs, perfect for lunches and great for kids on the go. Look for it in the juice aisle. Snack time is a great chance to sneak extra calcium into your child's diet without making him feel like he's eating something he doesn't want. Serve up dairy-rich foods like smoothies, flavored milk, frozen yogurt, and string cheese. He'll love the treat, and you'll love knowing how good it is for him. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live, you may join us here on the radio. We're talking about cheating. And is it a violation of the non-aggression principle? And now, according to Melanie, it is. She's just barely getting into her argument here. We're gonna get back into that. Also, do want you to know that when you go to saveatpurse.com, you are getting amazing discounts on the stuff that you need to buy through Amazon. Now, I needed something relatively quickly, so I put it at 15% off on saveatpurse.com, and I lost track of it. I didn't pay attention to the emails or whatever that I might have been sent, and then all of a sudden it was at my door. So, yeah, somebody bought it, 15%. I saved 15%, and so, why pay more? Why pay full price at Amazon when you can get 15, 20, 25%? It gets a little more difficult the higher up the percentage discount goes, but I've been able to, within the last few months, get items at 25% off. 20% off isn't a problem. 15% off is guaranteed that somebody's going to buy that. It's amazing. Check it out at saveatpurse.com. You do have to have cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, however. That is the catch when it comes to Save At Purse. saveatpurse.com. As we continue here. Now, Melanie, you were just getting into, so just kind of restart your argument. You were arguing that cheating in a relationship, whether married or not, is a violation of the non-aggression principle. Is that right?
Yeah, so, I mean, I think it's a little bit more clear if it's marriage, because if it's not, then
because you've
don't know
agreed
what
to
the terms
exclusivity.
Of your, right. And I think the more important thing is that you've agreed to non-terminability. Although even in a terminable relationship, I think that if you just kind of stop fulfilling your end of it and keep reaping the benefits, that's fraud. But so if you're married, then you have entered into a contract where, okay, so if you have self-ownership, and you have the right to do certain things with certain parts of your body because you are a self-owning adult.
Mm-hmm.
because you own that, you can alienate it. You can alienate it to somebody else. You can basically
alienate is another way to say sell or give away.
Right. So you can
give dominion to.
Yeah, you usually trade it for someone else's, is how most marriages work in recent times.
Mm-hmm.
So once you do that, you no longer own it. If I own a thing, I'm allowed to sell it. Wait a minute.
Just to clarify, you're only giving a certain level of control over it.
You're not alienating entire ownership. You're alienating what I would call partial ownership.
Right, because otherwise, if you alienate the entire thing, then the partner could demand sex at any time, whether you felt like it or not. Right.
Right. Or any number
Some
of
relationships,
weird
I
demands.
suppose, are like that.
Some are like that.
Certainly not mine.
Yeah.
So if you own some, I mean, it's kind of like, so if you
have claim to being the only person with whom that partner can have sex. Is the
right
claim.
If that's what you've traded for, then yes, then you have that claim, and that is a ownership interest that you have.
So how does that confront me if I decide, and I'm a single guy, presuming I was a single guy, I'm not, and I decide to, go hit on a married woman?
Were you assuming you know that she's married?
Well, we'll find out.
Not necessarily.
Honey, I'm not looking to marry you. I've said it more than once when I was single. Honey, I'm not looking to marry you.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so if you know that she's married and so then that means that you know, unless you have some knowledge that she's in some other form of relationship, if you know that she's in a monogamous marriage, then you know that what she's trying to give you, she does not own anymore. So you're basically taking someone else's property. The whole person is not the other person's property. I'm not trying to say that. But parts of them are. That was really horrible phrasing.
Does that mean you would owe the partner, the person whose property you are then taking? You would then owe that person restitution?
What damages?
We think very different things about restitution and about proportionality, so that's kind of a whole other.
Yeah, what would the damages be to this? I mean,
See, that
what do I owe?
That kind of doesn't matter to me.
Maybe you have to bend over for the other person.
I say wash it, and it's just as good as it was, and no harm done.
Well, value is subjective, and you if I go take your car and bring it back, does that mean I haven't violated your property rights, even if I wash it?
So,
okay, right, but somebody would have to decide. In the car example, some other person, right, an arbitrator or something, would have to decide what that time that you took the car was worth. Similarly, wouldn't a similar decision have to be made in a relationship?
Well, right. And if you're at the point where you're kind of arbitrating, and I've always found family court to be like utterly ridiculous, but if you're kind of at the point where you're arbitrating your relationship, especially if you're not really arbitrating for like major, houses and kids and stuff, you're kind of just acting, and I mean, I understand why, because you're like really hurt, so you're doing silly things, but you're kind of not acting rationally. If what was it worth if they weren't going to hold up to their end of the deal anyway? So but that's kind of a separate issue. What the retribution should be is a separate issue from whether or not if you steal a candy bar, that's theft. We recognize that,
right.
But that doesn't mean that we think that it's a good idea to have arbitration over this and throw people in jail and fine people for $10,000.
So I'm going to take the other end of it. I say that I have no obligation as a third party to a marriage to the let's just use for me the husband, because obviously I'm not going to have sex with the husband. It's going to be the wife that I'm interested in my circumstance. So I don't have, whether I know or not, I have no obligation to the husband whatever. That it is the wife that made the commitment to him, and that if she wishes to, whatever it is that she wants to do.
So you're saying the wife would have to make whole if indeed it was found to be a violation?
She's the one. It's her contract. It's not mine. I didn't make the contract. And she obviously still has control of her parts if she's able to have sex. So ownership of them, as far as I'm concerned, is about control, and that you cannot actually alienate a piece of your body.
Well,
you can't
I'm not
alienate
saying
your
that
own
you
body.
can alienate a piece of your body. I'm saying you can alienate your right to commit an act with a piece of your body.
Yeah, that's fine if the wife chooses to commit an act that she isn't allowed to. That was the contract she made, not the one that I made. The contract that I made has nothing. I don't have a contract with anybody, and so therefore I'm able to flit around like Peter Pan, do what I want, and that's her problem, not his,
and
not mine.
I agree with that to an extent. You don't have any obligation to the husbands per se, but if someone is giving you property that you know isn't theirs, if I walk up to you with a car and I'm like, hey Mark, you want to buy this car for $10, and you're like, yeah, that's awesome, and I'm like, but by the way, it belongs to Enterprise, and you're like, I have no contract with Enterprise, it's not my car to give you.
Yeah. So you're using a car as an example, and that's a difficult thing because there's titles and all these other things that go involved, and Enterprise is going to be able to get their car back. So I would just be bringing myself a whole lot of trouble by bringing their car.
Right, but enforceability is not the same thing as what right exists in the first place.
We're probably better off talking about a TV ad that you got from sort of Aaron Sells or something like that, one of these buy here, pay here places.
Okay, that's fine. I don't see how it doesn't make a difference to me. So yeah, TV.
Yeah, for me, I'd be like, it's just not worth the trouble. So yeah, I get where you're coming from, that it's not your TV to sell. I would certainly feel like that's not your TV to sell. I wouldn't feel the same way.
So why is it not the same way if it's what a lot of people would consider as more valuable property?
Sure, and maybe that's the reason. But I would also say that quite simply, your contract with your husband or wife is not my contract, so I have no obligation there, and I have no interest in it, and it doesn't bother me one way or the other. Whereas, now, it could be bad, right? Like some husband could decide to shoot me over this. But
right. I mean, okay, so with the TV, and I'm just listening to both of you here.
Yeah, sure.
With the TV, that's going to stay in your house, right? You've bought that TV. You didn't know any better.
No, she was claiming that I would know.
If you did know. If I'm selling you whatever the new one is, flat screen, 30-inch, whatever it is now, TV, for like $20, and I'm like, this belongs to Aaron's, though, but I have it in my possession, so $20.
I mean, knowing that you bought something that wasn't hers, I mean, you're knowledgeably, is that conversion? I forget what there's like a crime there. Or receiving stolen property. Receiving stolen property. And you would have that thing, whereas the person would likely go back home to the person that they've been cheating on. So there's kind of a difference there. But let's continue the discussion here in moments. 855-450 free.
Bitcoin.com is of the opinion that the current Bitcoin core development team is not taking satisfactory steps to ensure the growth and advancement of Bitcoin in accordance with Satoshi's vision. As community efforts to resolve these problems have failed, it is necessary to resolve them with a different approach. By using subreddit r/BTC instead of r/Bitcoin and running Bitcoin Unlimited, you are casting a vote against the current development team. Learn more at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson. InjuryHelpDesk.com is responsible for this advertisement. Principal office, Las Vegas, Nevada. Attention! If you or a loved one had a total or reverse shoulder replacement between 2011 and 2016 and suffered serious complications, including dislocation and loosening, you may be entitled to substantial compensation. Evidence indicates that these devices can dislocate and loosen, causing severe pain, and may require additional revision surgery. If you or a loved one had a total or reverse shoulder replacement and suffered a dislocation and loosening requiring a revision, call 800-598-0696. If you or a loved one had a total or reverse shoulder replacement between 2011 and 2016 and suffered serious complications, including dislocation and loosening, you may be entitled to substantial compensation. Time is limited to file a claim. Act now. For more information and a free consultation, call 800-598-0696. That's 800-598-0696. Again, that's 800-598-0696. Call now.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin, but imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveatpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveatpurse.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, dial toll-free. Join the discussion about cheating and libertarianism. Talking about the non-aggression
Everything
principle.
is about the NAP, Ian.
The non-aggression principle, the NAP, the idea that it's not okay to use the threat of or actual force against your neighbor. Generally, that's how we describe it. But fraud is usually included in the non-aggression principle because you're using...
Right, and there's a really long explanation as to why that constitutes theft at the end of the day anyway, but it's quicker to just say fraud, usually.
Well, the idea is that you're using other means besides a direct gun in someone's face to deprive them of property when it comes to fraud. And
which is why just lying is bad, but not a NAP violation. Fraud is.
I see.
So the argument here is no one's arguing that as a person in a relationship, here we're using the cheating wife because we seem to be throwing me in for whatever reason.
You were the only one throwing you in.
Okay, so we've got the cheating wife and the poor husband who is being cheated upon, and then this imaginary Mark who's single, right? And no one's arguing that the wife is defrauding the husband in this, as far as cheating goes, but
what Melanie is saying,
I am arguing that she's defrauding.
Yes, well, I am arguing. No one's arguing that she's not.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let me see if I can recap what Melanie has said so far here, because Melanie, you've argued that by getting into a marriage, and maybe in other relationships, but specifically in a marriage, that the people in that marriage are giving up some level of property right in their person, in their body.
Yes.
Some level of claim to that other person to say that other person is the sole individual who can have a certain sexual acts with that person.
Among other things, but yes.
Yeah, and so therefore you're arguing that the third party, the person, the single Mark who's coming in and having sex with a woman in that case,
the philanderer,
is by proxy violating their agreement and violating the non-aggression principle.
They're not violating their agreement, and I'm more worried about the parties to the actual contract. I do think that the third party is violating the NAP. I kind of care less, but again, I care less about them than the spouse. But again, value is subjective, so that's for them to decide what level of retribution is appropriate. Don't go out and get arrested, preferably, but whatever. So yes, he's not violating the contract, because you can't violate a contract you're not a party to. He's violating the property rights of the non-cheating spouse.
He has taken their property without their consent, is what you're saying. And you gave the example of the rental purchase store and a television set, and if you had offered to give Mark the TV set that you got from Aaron's rental purchase and that you were supposed to be making payments on, and he gives you $20 for it and knows that it's from the Aaron's rental purchase, that is a knowledgeable violation of the non-aggression principle, is what you're saying.
Right. So if I try to give someone something that does not fully belong to me, then I can't do that. I can't give away property I don't own. I can't give away this computer and that camera because it's not mine. It belongs to somebody else.
And so the woman in this example who is giving her body away or sex with her body away to that third party, to the single Mark, she can't do that either.
Right, because she's not the sole owner of it anymore.
Because she gave that up.
I would argue that, perhaps in the 1800s when it was fine for a man to say, "You, sir, have besmirched my honor," and, slap you in the face.
Throw down the gauntlet.
Slap you in the face with a glove and then pull up guns and you guys, face to face, and potentially you can die over this kind of behavior. Mm-hmm. We've moved beyond that to a world.
We've moved away from that. I don't know if
not beyond that.
Beyond is kind of a judgment.
There's still plenty of dudes and girls who fight over each other,
they
right?
Do.
Like that
they
happens.
do. That's their business. But today you're going to get in trouble for choosing to fight.
And I'm not recommending that that's a good idea.
So we live in a world
in some states
where
mutual combat's legal. I think the state of Washington is legal.
I know in Kentucky it's outlawed.
Some levels of mutual combat are legal in Louisiana as long as you don't cause permanent injury or use a weapon. In
New Hampshire, I believe it is a violation, so it's technically illegal here. But I remember seeing a video of, I think it was Phoenix Jones. Remember the old superhero guys?
Yeah, superhero guy, yeah.
Phoenix Jones was one of the more newsworthy ones, and he actually threw down with somebody in the streets of Seattle, and the cops actually refereed the fight.
It's very interesting.
And that's kind of irrelevant because you will also get in legal trouble for smoking weed or not paying property taxes. That doesn't mean that you're violating anyone's rights by doing that.
I would say that the contract, however, exists in a world where you can make whatever contract you want with your spouse or significant other, but the contract that we call marriage exists in modern culture. And so the marriage that exists in modern culture can be dissolved for $350. I saw a sign while we were in Sarasota, Florida. Yep. Divorce, $350. That's what apparently a marriage is worth. Now you have to pay $125. I think is what we paid my wife and I to get married. So I guess it's something like almost $500 round trip. But nonetheless, that marriage exists in a world where it can be dissolved for $325 or probably less if you really looked hard. So therefore, the TV, on the other hand, that we're talking about, this property that that would have changed hands, that means the cops will come after that thing, come into your house, get it out of there, and that sort of thing.
But what the cops are going to do isn't relevant at all.
It's relevant in that the contract called marriage today is nearly valueless.
So wait, are you saying that if the cheating happens, the person gets caught, that they would only have to pay $350 and that would be the only restitution?
And that's probably not even true even from a statist perspective.
No, I don't think that you'd have to pay anything, but I'm showing that marriage is nearly marriage is nearly valueless from a quantifiable
standard. It depends on how much property
standard.
You have, because it's going to cost you half your stuff.
Agreed.
Especially if you're a guy.
But that's the poor choice of the spouse, the cheating spouse.
Because they didn't get a prenup.
Right, not the person who chooses to cheat. I don't have any responsibility for the woman if she loses, some amount of money in the divorce because she was cheating, as opposed to getting a divorce some other way. That's not my. I don't have any obligation.
You wouldn't have to put your property up.
So
as the cheating guy.
Whether
third party.
That's actually not true in some states.
Really?
Yeah.
So
the third party could put.
You can sue them. There's a claim called alienation of affection, which essentially allows you to sue your wife's or your husband's mistress or whatever the wife's version of that is also.
Huh.
Now, if the people had entered into, say, some kind of weird marriage where they get to chop each other's heads off if they're caught cheating, and I participated in that might be a better argument. But
it is contingent on what kind of agreement you agree to. Because if you agree, hey, we're going to have a state marriage, and that means we can end it at any time, and the penalty for liquidated damages for cheating is whatever the state says it is, then that's a different contract to where if you would enter kind of something that's closer than what I would call a marriage, and then there's stuff in between. But even if it's terminable, that doesn't mean you get to act any kind of way before you actually terminate it. So if I go to a job where it's not hourly, it's salaried, and I quit showing up and keep cashing the check, that's still a violation of my employer's rights. So if I go out and cheat on my spouse, even if I'm in a terminable marriage, which I never would be, and I keep showing up and having them pay the bills and having them do whatever the part they're doing, and also I'm cheating on them, then I am defrauding them.
Yeah, it's much more reprehensible, and I would concur with you on that. But if you, for instance, you were talking about jobs, we both worked for Clear Channel, and the Clear Channel in the town that we were working for, I don't know if they ever got you to do it, Ian, but they were trying to get me to sign a non-compete.
No.
And I refused to sign the thing because I'm like, what am I getting in compensation for this non-compete? It's not like there's a check for $1,000 stapled to this thing. I'm not signing this non-compete. Get out of here.
Well, right. So you refuse to sign it. And so if you don't want to enter in a monogamous or non-compete, then you don't enter into one.
Saying if I had, if I had and I'd gone across the street, then obviously, they would have been able to sue me. But I didn't sign it, and I did actually go and work for another radio station within a few months after leaving, and they would have been, could have done something about it had I signed the non-compete. So essentially, I am this cheating spouse who just basically said, no, I'm done, and then went on. So I think it's true that it's reprehensible to be in a relationship and continue to cheat and then enjoy all the benefits of the relationship. But again, that isn't the fault of
why is that? But why is that not fraud and therefore not a net violation? But any other contract, if you did the same thing, would be.
It is for the spouse, but it's not for the cheater, in my opinion. Whatever. It's just active
tacky
nature. It's tacky. You could certainly be in a situation where a husband wants to shoot you.
What is the name for? You mentioned mistress. What is the male equivalent of a mistress? Is there a word for that?
I don't know.
There might not be. I don't know.
Boy toy.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, no, because that doesn't necessarily imply fraud of any kind. That's just.
Well, I just mean though somebody who's on the side, right? Like that's what the mistress is, right? A female who's on the side from a relationship. What's the male equivalent? Toll-free number,
Boy toy is the best I got.
855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've got plenty of time for you to join us. Maybe you want to weigh in on the cheating discussion. Plus, you can also call us on Skype, and the Skype username here is LRN.FM. What's Pussy Riot up to? We'll give you the latest in moments. It's Free Talk Live. Do you need a website for your blog or new business? It can be pretty intimidating on your own, and that's why Free Talk Live has partnered with HostGator, one of the top hosting companies. HostGator offers a simple, one-click, easy installation for WordPress, 24/7 over-the-phone or live chat tech support, and a very intuitive, user-friendly control panel that puts the power of creation back into your hands. Go to HostGator.com/FTL, and you'll get 50% off of their regular hosting prices. 50% off. HostGator.com/FTL. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that tenth of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene, the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Monday, March 20th, 2017. Silver is trading at $17.39 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,231 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 1.1 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $1,052. Antiwar.com reports it's being called an insider attack in some reports, but an incident on Sunday in Afghanistan's southern Helmand district, in which 3 U.S. soldiers were shot and wounded by an Afghan soldier, does not appear to have involved an infiltrator as most previous incidents have. Colonel Mahmoud Rasulzadeh, an Afghan army spokesman, insisted the soldier made a mistake and had not deliberately fired his gun. The soldier, as yet unidentified in public statements, was apparently killed in the incident. Because of the size of the Afghan military and its low pay, recruiting standards are very low, and this has allowed a number of Taliban to infiltrate, steal weapons, or use their access as soldiers to carry out attacks on the rest of the Afghan security forces. Attacks on NATO troops were a lot more common a few years ago, though rule changes now limit foreign troops' contact with the rank-and-file Afghan forces, which has meant most such insider incidents have been Afghan-on-Afghan violence. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports the Republican leader of the House Intelligence Committee, having reviewed information from the Department of Justice, said Sunday he has seen no evidence that the Obama administration wiretapped Trump Tower, as President Trump has claimed. Devin Nunes of California said in an interview on Fox News Sunday, "Was there a physical wiretap of Trump Tower? No, there never was." On Friday, the DOJ said it turned over information sought by congressional committees, which requested documents for any potential court orders or warrants related to Trump, his campaign surrogates, family, or friends. Nunes said he had seen no information of a foreign intelligence surveillance warrant to monitor Trump. If you take the president literally, it did not happen. He said there are possibly other surveillance activities, referring to the communications related to former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn that were leaked. Asked whether the committee had seen evidence of collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia, he said, "I'll give you a very simple answer: no." On March 4th, Trump made the wiretap allegations in a series of tweets. The White House has defended Trump's accusations, but broadened wiretapping to broad surveillance. Representative Adam Schiff of California, the Democrats' ranking member on the committee, said he expects FBI Director James Comey to deny Trump's claims at a hearing on Monday. Trump said to German Chancellor Angela Merkel during a joint news conference on Friday at the White House, "On wiretapping by this past administration, at least we have something in common, perhaps." The NSA allegedly monitored phone calls involving Merkel and her aides. Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? Then you need Spendabit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spendabit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co today. Bitcoin merchants, ask about our merchant suite to reach even more customers. Spendabit.co. Reuters reports members of the U.S. women's national ice hockey team threatening to boycott the World Championship over a wage dispute will meet with USA Hockey on Monday. Players from the defending world champions will meet USA Hockey executives in Philadelphia in an effort to sort out the impasse 2 days before training camp for the week-long tournament begins. U.S. forwards Jocelyn and Monique Lemereau, Megan Dugan, Hillary Knight, Kendall Coyne, and defenseman Casey Bellamy will be at the morning meeting, according to John Langle, a lawyer for the players. Last week, the women's team said they would not report for training camp unless adequate progress in the dispute is made. USA Hockey then imposed a deadline of last Thursday for the team to decide whether to participate in the competition, which begins March 31st in Michigan, but the players opted to let the deadline pass. Players are under contract to USA Hockey only during years when the Winter Olympics are held and are seeking a deal that would compensate them during non-Olympic years. But USA Hockey has maintained that its role is to support players as they prepare for competitions, not to employ them. USA Hockey said last week the door remains open for a settlement and they are committed to resolving the dispute. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
The American robin heralds the beginning of spring in temperate climates across North America. Its red breast makes it easily identifiable as the most disturbingly efficient murderer in the animal kingdom. Here, we see a robin rip a worm out of the ground with no moral hesitation whatsoever. This atrocity is but one in a series of cold-blooded murders this bird will commit in a single day. Although feces-fueled worms are themselves one of the most disgusting of all animals, the robin's cruelty remains indefensible. Some apologists might argue that robins need to eat worms to survive, but worms are capable of regeneration. So robins could satiate themselves on fractions of individual worms and leave the rest. But it does not. Unequivocal evidence of the robin's bloodlust.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live. We're launching into the second hour of the program. You're invited to join us on the radio here. You can take control of the airwaves. 855 450 free.
Did you see the second hour of the program?
Did I? I'm sorry. Third hour.
We have completed the second hour.
Correct. And still plenty of time for you, though, if you want to join us here at 855 450 free. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
Melanie.
And King Mark the First.
We were talking about cheating, and I feel like we've kind of hashed that one out.
Yeah, squeeze the juice out of that one.
Okay, so if you, the listener, would like to comment, however, you're welcome to weigh in here. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. As we continue, we'll take your calls about anything. And then coming up, the latest on Pussy Riot. We haven't talked about them in quite a while here on Free Talk Live since they had gotten out of prison after infamously playing in one of the Orthodox, I believe it was Christian churches there in Russia, playing music in the church and being arrested and imprisoned.
Did the church let them in to play music, though? I have
no, they didn't.
I know nothing.
No,
about
they
the story.
didn't.
Okay.
Oh, you don't know anything about Pussy Riot?
I don't know about them. I've heard the band name. I don't know anything about them getting arrested in Russia.
Yeah, they went to prison. We can tell you more about that coming up here. But we've got Ralph, and he's in New Jersey. You can dial in toll free at 855-450-FREE and join us. Go ahead, Ralph.
I want to talk about the anti-Semitism going on in this country right now, which, in my opinion, Obama, El Negro, Copper, or Bantu has set the tone for that.
You know Obama's not president anymore, right?
He has set the tone for that. And I like to believe that what's driving this whole thing is, the black bigotry of Black Lives Matter, because that animal out of St. Louis. That's right.
Hold on.
What does that have to do with anti-Semitism?
What anti-Semitism are you talking about? Can you be more specific? I'm not sure that I know what anti-Semitism we're referring to.
Well, this bomb hoax and
a bomb hoax.
It's not just it's not the bogus bomb threat. That is.
Is this the one against the Jewish Community Center or something like that?
Right, the Jewish Community Center. That kind of thing.
Didn't that happen under Trump?
I really like to talk about the animalistic ways of the black and how they are.
See, you are a racist. See, you keep denying. You've denied so many times.
You are
it's not funny.
Guilty,
it's not funny. It's not.
No, that's not white guilty.
I'm putting him on hold. It's not funny. And he's called in before, and he usually talks about Barack Obama as some sort of animal, but every now and then he'll reveal that he's actually really referring to all black people, and then he'll try to backpedal on it later.
I've not heard him be anything but racist anytime I've ever been here, so I don't know if he actually has anything else to say.
Go ahead, Ralph.
Question. I want to ask Melanie a question.
Okay.
Can you white guilty your way into this situation? Because we got a trial going on in Newark.
What does that even mean?
It is a murder trial, by the way, Melanie.
He basically, when he says white guilty, what he means is if you don't agree with him that black people are bad, you must be white guilty because you feel like you're guilty for all of the bad things that have happened to black people, and you're trying to make up for it by not agreeing with him that black people are bad. That's my interpretation of what Ralph means, but he can try to explain himself here. Go ahead, Ralph. What does it mean?
You cannot. This trial is about a murder case, which was done in the commission of a crime. The crime here being the carjacking of a well-off couple who went holiday shopping in an upscale mall here in New Jersey. That's over in Melbourne, New Jersey.
Upscale couples have never been carjacked by white people or attacked by white people.
It's so. Let me tell you something, white guilty. Let me tell you something, okay? You cannot white guilty your way into taking of someone's life in the commission of a crime. Okay, you cannot. You just cannot.
I don't know what you mean.
It's hard, I'm very heartbroken to see the widow.
You're using it as one.
I'm very heartbroken to see the widow,
the widow
cry on the witness stand.
Oh, okay.
That's right. The widow of this, the widow of this young man that was, savagely murdered by black animals.
Okay. Look, Ralph. Imagine what it would be like if you're Filipino, is my understanding.
Yes, yeah.
If people just made wide and sweeping comments about Filipinos, and I don't know what people say about Filipinos, but let's just say because some Filipino. Please, let me finish. Because some Filipino committed some crime somewhere that you are somehow less than human because of it, and I think that's ridiculous, Ralph. I'm not going to judge you based on your nationality, and I'm not going to choose to judge anybody else based on theirs.
I have not even talked about that situation in Baltimore, Maryland, where, it was...
Okay, he's completely ignored you at this point.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to him.
Thank you for the call tonight, Ralph. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. I mean, he's definitely a racist. There's no doubt, and there shouldn't be any doubt in anyone's mind about Ralph.
I mean, I didn't think that was really up for questioning. Yeah. I thought it was blatantly clear that he likes to call in and tell people that he was a racist.
No, he won't admit. He generally won't admit to being a racist when at the same time every other word coming out of his mouth is absolutely very racist.
Yeah,
it's despicable.
Sorry. I'm just not going to...
You don't have to apologize. There's nothing to apologize for.
Well, I mean...
He's a jerk.
I understand what he's trying to say, but it just doesn't fit. It doesn't work. You can't just judge one person based on other people's actions.
So you can't judge a whole island of 100 million people based on Ralph being an a-hole.
Right. I mean, you shouldn't judge anybody on anything other than that person's actions, and anything else is, collectivism.
It's sad that we have to explain that, right? It's sad that we still, here in the 21st century, in 2017, that we still have to try to impress that message onto people. It's amazing.
It seems like
how many more decades?
Humans are always going to find some way to differentiate themselves from the other folks.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they have to claim it themselves. The Star-Bellied Sneetch story from Dr. Seuss is very good and very relevant, and probably should be read by adults on a relatively regular basis.
Toll-free number, if you want to join us here, 855-450-FREE. So it was several years ago now. I don't remember what year it was, but probably like 2012 or something like that. Anyway, when Pussy Riot, which is a Russian band, kind of a punk music band, that they went into the Orthodox Cathedral in Moscow, I believe it was. They played, and I think it was just an acoustic. I don't think they had any kind of electrification or anything like that. But they did an impromptu concert in protest of the church and the government.
They came into his church and screamed around, and made a big fools of themselves, in my opinion, because they don't like the Russian church. Now, they claim there's some kind of collusion between
the government and the church.
Between Putin's Russia and the church, and that's fine and whatever. Was the church a place for it? I don't think it particularly was, but I don't think jail was a good sentence either.
Prison, not just jail, but they went to a very foreboding prison in, the middle of nowhere where it's really cold, and we read one article about the conditions in this prison, and it's pretty notorious, pretty terrible place. So I agree with you, Mark, that this was a clear property rights violation. They did a performance of music without permission to do so in this place that is not supposed to have that kind of thing. So at worst, they should have owed restitution, but this is Russia, and so they were punished for, I forget what the crime was, but it was some kind of crime against the state. It wasn't actually like a property rights violation crime. So the girls in Pussy Riot are not libertarians, but they are interesting because of what they've done. You know, they're willing to put their freedom on the line, or what freedom that they might have in Russia on the line, to make whatever political statements they want to. And I think that that's interesting. It makes them worth talking about. So the story here from Yahoo.com, AFP reporting, still relishing provocation 3 years after their release from a Russian prison, the punk rockers in Pussy Riot are reviving their challenge to President Vladimir Putin in an action-packed autobiographical theatrical piece. And we'll tell you more about that coming up here in moments. We'll also take your calls and thoughts. You can take control of the airwaves here. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype as well. The Skype username is LRN.FM. And this is Free Talk Live.
If you're a sleep apnea sufferer who's on the go, go to your phone. Because if you give us a call right now, you'll be able to try the world's first portable mini CPAP device absolutely risk-free for 10 restful nights. It's the Transcend Mini CPAP, an engineering marvel that's as small as a soda can and weighs less than a pound. Its unique design is so small and so light, you can fit it in your briefcase or purse to use anywhere you go. No more dragging around a big, bulky CPAP. Even better, now you can try Transcend absolutely risk-free for 10 restful nights by calling minicpap.com, 1-800-768-3138. Transcend is FAA compliant too, so you can even sleep comfortably while flying. You can also add a battery pack that's as tiny as a deck of cards. So now you can enjoy the freedom to sleep comfortably anywhere. But don't wait. To receive your 10-night in-home trial, call minicpap.com now. 1-800-768-3138. That's 1-800-768-3138.
Have you checked your Google search results lately? Search results are usually the first impression that people form of you or your business. So make sure that they create a positive impression with ReputationDefender.com. What the internet says about you can have a big impact on your life and your livelihood, even if it's not true. Fortunately, you can now control how you look online and in online search results with ReputationDefender.com. Call 800-831-0771 now. That's 800-831-0771 for your free reputation analysis. If you have negative material from an ex-employee, upset patient, or former client, newspaper article, legal issue, social media, or other source showing up in your search results, you can combat it with ReputationDefender.com. Our dedicated experts in patented technology can help make your online search results look their best. Call 800-831-0771 to learn more. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com.
Anyone can publish on the internet, but not everyone is publishing material suited for online reading. According to the Yahoo Style Guide, it cautions that internet content has a few seconds, 3 or less, to encourage people to read more, to take action, or navigate to another one of your pages. So make it easy for readers to pick and choose. Isn't that the way you poke around online? Use short words, short sentences, short paragraphs, bulleted lists, and short pages. Front load what you write, putting the most important information at the beginning of headlines and paragraphs and sentences. Same goes for your keywords, what someone would likely type into the search box on Yahoo or Google. For more tips on communicating better online or in a job interview or everyday life, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it! You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll-free here. Bring up anything you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And you can Skype into the show at Skype username LRN.FM. Tonight in studio, it's me, Ian.
Melanie.
And Mark.
To your phone calls and thoughts. More about the latest on Pussy Riot in moments. The Russian band back in action after spending time in prison. A couple of years, I think, they spent in prison. Let's go to your calls and thoughts. First, Dave is in New Hampshire. Dave Ridley from RidleyReport.com. Hello, Dave. Dave?
I have an update for you regarding this right to record situation in the State House.
Yeah, for listeners that maybe are just tuning in, you were threatened recently by a chairperson of one of the committees in the New Hampshire State House, a woman with whom I am not familiar. What was her name? Ohm? Or no, Ober?
Lynn Ober. I guess if you want a little bit of background on her, she would be considered pretty much a conservative. She's got a 75% pro-liberty rating from the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance as well. And she was a fairly important part of Bill O'Brien's efforts about 4 years ago that led to a reduction in state spending. So she's not any kind of, she's not our normal enemy. But, I find myself in conflict with all kinds of politicians sometimes, so.
Right, so, I mean, this lady who is better than the average state representative as far as her votes are concerned, but altogether isn't a principled person, decided to threaten you when you were in her committee room recording, which these are public meetings, and it is not uncommon for people like you or I to be in these rooms, or others with video cameras, setting up cameras and recording what goes on in these public hearings. And she told you that you weren't allowed to record in there, right?
She did, but I wouldn't call it a threat precisely, unless it was sort of a threat to have the security chief gently put his hand on my shoulder. Was basically that was about the extent of it.
But wait a minute, hold on, Dave. You're taking it way too lightly, okay? Because you're a pro. And you and I both know that when somebody in a public place like this claims you're not allowed to record, we're both going to keep recording and, get them on video saying that, and then get the security on video when they showed up, which is what you did. The security guard shows up. You recorded your conversation with the security guard. This is all over at RidleyReport.com. You recorded your conversation with him where he requested that you leave the room. And so the language is, in some cases very cautiously worded. Oh, are you just requesting, officer? Because if it's a request, I'm going to pleasantly, cordially deny your request. And
Thanks for asking. The answer is no.
Right. Thanks for asking. Have a nice day. Move along. And the average person or the newbie who, let's just say they got their first video camera, they've been excited by, seeing people recording in the State House, and they want to come down there and try it themselves. But they've never gone up against a security goon, or they've never gone up against some bureaucrat or politician who thinks they have a right to not be recorded. They may not handle it in the same way. They may, when the security guard puts their hand on them, say, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know I wasn't allowed to record here," and just close the camera and put it away. And then they will have allowed their right to be the free press to be trampled on. So I think that while you can easily brush this off as, "Oh, this wasn't a threat," somebody else might have felt very differently about it who doesn't have as much experience.
Fair enough. Anyway, the update is that a person in New Hampshire who I wouldn't necessarily call a liberty activist, she's had a pretty rocky relationship with the liberty community in New Hampshire. Her name is Nimmy Jones, and she scheduled an event for today to go do the same thing and record in this meeting. And then I guess it seemed to me like at the last minute, apparently the meeting was canceled.
I doubt it had anything to do with an activist scheduling something unless it was highly publicized.
Yeah, you would think so. And it wasn't that publicized. I mean, I had mentioned it on the radio in a place or two beforehand, and it was talked about some on Facebook, but it didn't look like it was going to be that big of an event. I just never. Yeah, you're right. It may have had nothing to do with it, but I've only seen. I think I've only seen this happen once or twice before, where an individual committee meeting was canceled.
It happens.
They usually, yeah. So anyway, that happened, and additionally, Speaker Jasper has made a statement to. I think it was to Conan Saladay, who hosts a program in Keene, a weekend program in Keene. Jasper said, quote, "A mistake was made by a chairman," again, according to Saladay, Jasper said, quote, "A mistake was made by a chairman, which hopefully will not be repeated in the future. That being said, there is more to this story, but going into the details serves no purpose. I will simply state that it is the responsibility of any chairman to make sure that the videotaping of a meeting is done in a way that is not disruptive to the meeting or any individual member. It is also the right of the chairman to direct that the videotaping take place in an appropriate area of the room. As a point of clarification, the rules governing activities within the House and Senate chamber are subject only to the rules established by the body." Unquote.
Now, that's an ironic position from that guy, because he was recently talking about the Speaker of the House of Representatives here in New Hampshire. That same guy was upset at a state representative who was using a camera on his phone in the state chamber, in the full House chamber. There was a guy, Glenn Aldrich, who is a Liberty rep, who was using his phone camera to take pictures in the room of just kind of what was going on there in the State House. And they were in the middle of a session at the time, but he wasn't doing anything that was disruptive necessarily. He was just taking pictures, and they made a big deal out of this. And I'm hoping that we're going to see some news coverage about that at some point. I know that Caleb Dyer is supposedly working on a story about it for Free Keene. I don't know when it's going to be done, because he was there and he witnessed this happen. Apparently there's a state house rule that the state representatives, not the rest of the people can record any public hearing that's going on, but that on the floor of the state house, if you are a state representative, you're supposed to not use video recording devices. And they claimed that the way he was holding his camera made them believe that he was recording video. He told them, no, I'm just taking pictures. But regardless, the state house voted overwhelmingly to stop him from taking the pictures. Did you hear about that, Dave?
Yes, and I've been talking about that on local radio some to get the word out. The thing is, people complain sometimes. Well, you didn't do this to resist the government, or you didn't do that. Or you should do this, and this, and this. Just filming it isn't enough. Well, maybe that's technically true, but I tell you what, if filming is not effective, why are they trying so hard to stop it in so many ways, in so many places?
Absolutely, whether it be in the state house or police officers out in the streets trying to intimidate people who are recording, which happened recently with some of the cop chasers, I believe they're calling themselves. There's a new police accountability group here in Keene. They've been confronted by officers trying to throw their weight around, and you gotta practice. You gotta practice standing your ground, and of course having other people there to back you up is always helpful. Dave from Ridley Report, Dave Ridley at ridleyreport.com. Thanks for your call and the update here tonight. There's more coming up. Our toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. Join us on Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon you'll need a plan and place to survive. Forget bunkers. You're not a live underground gopher. You need survivalist camps, the ultimate fully functional, off-the-grid mobile survival bug-out house that's well-equipped and custom-built to outlast any other RV or trailer. Bold statement? You bet. See them now at survivalistcamps.com. That's survivalistcamps.com. Trust your family's survival to survivalistcamps.com.
Free Talk Live.
Did you say that you prostituted yourself when you were 10 years old?
I was doing something of a sexual nature in return
Was that a
for...
woman or a...
It was a next-door neighbor. He was probably around 16.
So he took advantage of you?
No, sir. He didn't take advantage of me.
He corrupted you morally?
No, sir. It was my choice to climb into his window. It was my choice, Lou. It was my choice to take my pants off and get into his bed. It was all my choice, Lou.
Listen to me, Ian. You do not have the right at the age of 10 to make that decision.
Don't you dare tell me what I can and can't do, Lou.
I'm telling you, he molested you.
No, Lou.
You don't even realize.
Lou, you don't understand what molestation is. Molestation is unwanted sexual advances. I consented. I know you don't believe that's possible. I know me better than you know me, Lou.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Of course, you can join us on the radio here. The toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. Joining you tonight, it's Ian.
Melanie.
And Mark.
855-450-3733. Skype username is LRN.FM. So call us up and bring up whatever's on your mind. Also, I do want to let you know about some of the features that you can find over at freetalklive.com. We got a webcam. You can watch and listen to the show at the same time over at cam.freetalklive.com. Plus, we also have a YouTube channel, which is where those live streamed videos go to after we're done streaming them. So if you miss the live show, you can always go and watch it on YouTube. Of course, we have audio versions of the show as well, podcast, live streaming. It's all free for you at freetalklive.com. As we go to your phone calls and thoughts, first up, it's Doug in Philadelphia, listening online at LRN.FM. Hey, Doug.
Hi. I have a little bit of a different topic. I think it's from last night. You were talking about I guess it was in California. I just caught the end of it. They were bringing in plastic bags that were supposed to hold 22 pounds and be used like 125 times or something.
Yeah, there's a state law mandating these things in California, and that the stores have to charge 10 cents per bag. So there's no more free bags in California.
Okay. I'm a commercial real estate analyst, and I've done a lot of consulting work for sanitary and landfills. Pennsylvania and Virginia are the two biggest states for importing garbage, but I've been to a bunch of different landfills, and they're all carefully engineered. They know how to handle it. I've done a lot of research in the EPA library in Philadelphia, and there is no shortage of landfill space in the United States.
Oh, yeah, there's plenty of space. Plenty of it.
And
they get turned into housing developments, golf courses, parks, all kinds of things
when
afterwards.
they get filled up, right.
Yeah, they go through the closure process. It takes 25 years or so before, 20 to 25 years before it can become a golf course or a park, and then housing development would take longer because you have to make sure that there was no more settlement. But I guess if I'm telling you stuff that you already know.
No, but what you're pointing out, I mean, not everybody listening already knows, so, I mean, it's still important information. What you're saying here is that, the claim that there's we're running out of space to put all the garbage is just a load. I mean, it's nonsense.
Yeah, that's 1970s stuff. We're going to cut all the trees down. All the I mean, it's not that I don't believe some of the environmental stuff they say these days, but the environmental stuff they said in the past was all hogwash, except for chlorofluorocarbons.
And then these guys the guys in the sanitary landfills, I got a fun story for you. Because in one of these landfills, they seized a bunch of one-armed bandits, the
slot machines,
gambling machines, slot machines, and the Pennsylvania state took these machines and they disposed of them in the sanitary landfill. These guys went in, broke the machines open, and found all kinds of money in them.
Oh my God!
And so they'll go in there, and before there was all this stuff with aluminum recycling and everything else, if aluminum or copper prices got high enough, they would go in and retrieve it. That's the way the market works.
Mm-hmm.
So this whole the whole idea of the recycling, or like you say, we're running out of land, or you have to pay 10 cents for a bag, and that's a little bit different economic concept the woman was talking about. There's the point of purchase. Somebody's going to buy, if they can make the buy decision at the point where this thing is available, then that's the best way to do it. But if you have to remember to bring the bag in every time.
Which our caller last night says she never remembers that.
I never can remember it either. My wife has these reusable bags, and we try to use them, but I can never remember to bring the things in.
I think it's Price Right. Whatever one is in Manchester, they have 10-cent bags, not because of any legal reasons, but just because they try to. They run these places to try to stay as cheap as possible. I don't forget them every time, but I forgot them. And you know what? The 30 cents that it's going to take to fill up all the groceries I have is not going to make me not buy bags. Like, I mean, and not
it's
to say
not worth
that
your time to walk back out to the car and get
right.
them, right?
And I mean, that's not to say that that's not going to be a problem for anybody if you're shopping for a large family or whatever, and it ends up costing you a couple of dollars. I mean, I might go, and these are big bags, so, 10 cents might fit everything I'm buying, depending on what I'm buying. And I also kind of want to know, like, who does not have any other, like, who is just throwing away plastic bags? Like, how do you not have, it's not like they're just additional trash. I mean, hopefully most people are using them for other things.
I think people try to, but there's so many of them.
Bags.
There's so many of them, you can't use them all. I will point this out. I was down at the Turtle Hospital, and I think it was... it might have been Marathon Key.
A hospital for turtles.
Hospital for sea turtles. And it turns out these things don't have taste buds, and they're not very smart because they really do eat garbage. And their favorite garbage is, they eat jellyfish. And what looks like a big jellyfish?
A plastic bag.
These plastic bags. So I think what people are worried about these days is not so much landfill space, but the Pacific Garbage Patch, as it is known, and these other garbage patches around the world. And
I saw this one video. I think Daryl showed it to me of a turtle that had a straw up its nose.
They don't have fingers. They can't pull them out.
Like how it got up there, though.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's evolution's way of telling you you're done. I mean, if you're literally eating plastic bags on a regular basis.
Hey, Doug, anything else you want to share from your experience?
Well, I guess I can see how the dumping garbage in the ocean would be destructive, but one more thing I'll talk about with the sanitary landfills, they build cells. And these are essentially dirt pits, and they're covered up every day with a layer of dirt. So there are a lot of birds around, and they have fences for anything that blows across the landfill. But the turtles generally don't go underground, so they're not going to get caught up in the plastic bags that are buried. The petroleum that they're made from comes from underground in the first place. And
that's true. Plastic is a byproduct of petroleum production, correct?
Yeah. And I'm sure they can make plastic bags that'll decompose over the course of 20 years or so.
Doug, good call, man. Very informative. Thank you for the expertise and the information. I appreciate it. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. But, yeah, there was this video of this turtle that had, I don't know if it was a full length of a straw up his nose, but it was a long piece of straw that was up this turtle's nose, and I was just bewildered as to how it would even be possible unless someone shoved it up there. But this turtle was out in the middle of the ocean, so bizarre.
Well, for one, since going to the turtle hospital, we've decided we're just not using straws anymore. They always, whenever you go to a restaurant, somebody tries to shove a straw in your drink, right?
Yeah.
Or they at least throw it down next to it. And no, thank you. Just don't want a straw. I don't need it. I'm an adult. I can pick up a glass and drink out of it. I don't need that extra garbage in this world. So after you saw the operation that they, the photos and the video of the operation.
Yeah, there's a video of it being removed.
What they've taken out of turtles, you realize that these, admittedly, these creatures ain't got a lot of brains, but they're still here on the planet. They're still trying to figure out how they've been around for a long time. Yeah, almost all of them are older than we are. Yeah. They live for a very long time. So, just trying to make space with them on the planet, I will try to remember to bring my canvas bags into the grocery store, and I'm going to go without straws for that reason.
Well, I mean, the odds that your straw refuse is going to end up in the ocean are pretty slim, given that they go to landfills.
Did you see a
here.
turtle with a straw in its nose? Did that straw belong to someone at some point?
Probably, yeah. But it's probably somebody who threw it over the side of their boat.
Things wash off, and that's the other thing is things sometimes you just lose them off the back of your boat, and you have to kind of do penance for the garbage you dump off the back of your boat.
The toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You can take control of the airwaves. Coming up here in moments, your calls and thoughts, and a little bit more on Pussy Riot and the latest on what they're up to. The Russian punk band. It's Free Talk Live.
Bitcoin.com recently reported Bitcoin transaction fees have increased by more than 1,200% since 2015. To many Bitcoin proponents, the current fee market is moving way too fast, making Bitcoin unusable for certain transactions. The fee market and slow confirmation times have also increased the tension concerning the block size debate. However, if there are wallets with low amounts of Bitcoin that can't cover the fees, they become virtually unspendable. Learn more at news.bitcoin.com. That's news.bitcoin.com.
You've said it yourself. We need a healthcare system that focuses on health, not sickness. Health insurance pays for treating sickness but gives you nothing for being healthy. There's a free market healthcare company that gives you freedom from health insurance. They give you a proactive health assessment daily, no charge 24-hour access to doctors. Check them out right now at healthexcellenceselect.com. Any kind of doctor, traditional, integrative, chiropractic, acupuncture, and massage. You'll love the service and price. healthexcellenceselect.com. healthexcellenceselect.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Joel Wallach, veterinarian and naturopathic physician. The Dead Doctors Don't Lie guy with an important message. Take charge of your health. Do not continue to blindly follow the system that has failed us all. I appreciate GCN listeners because you're open-minded and intelligent. If our system is so great, why is it that the United States, the USA, ranks nearly 60th worldwide in longevity and number 1 in obesity? All the while we spend more money than all the other countries combined annually on unnecessary healthcare procedures and toxic drugs. It doesn't take much to get on track. Not with the government or pharmaceutical companies, but rather you in control of your own health with a basic understanding of nutrition and supplementation. FDI Longevity has the finest quality health, sports, and energy supplements available. GCN listeners are invited to join our team of people who want to stay healthy well into old age. We are currently looking for specialists to represent FDI Longevity and Save America. To buy products at wholesale prices or join our business team, go to GCNteam.com. That's GCNteam.com. Support GCN. Get healthy.
So, I heard somebody say that 50 is the new 25. I mean, I can live with that, but isn't age just a number? I mean, if you feel good and look good, who cares about numbers anyway? I take care of myself, and, well, I use Nature's Youth RSF from, you guessed it, Nature's Youth. Think of the money you spend on things that make you feel better for just a little bit, and then think of spending the same amount or less on something that can make you look and feel better for a lifetime. How about the facts? The ingredients in Nature's Youth RSF work naturally, providing just the right environment to support healthy HGH levels while maintaining homeostasis. RSF is non-toxic, and it doesn't contain any synthetic hormones, which can weaken your endocrine system. Simply add RSF to your sensible diet and exercise plan. You can, and will, thank me later. Forget about that aging number I mentioned and focus on the anti-aging number. 800-333-6923. That's 800-333-6923 and online at naturesyouth.com. Nature's Youth. Live your life.
You may already know about the Free Talk Live audio-on-demand phone line at 641-793-9660. Did you know that not only can you listen to Free Talk Live via your phone, you can also leave a message and have it delivered to Free Talk Live's hosts? To leave us your thoughts, just dial 641-793-9660. That's 641-793-9660. Press 2 for Free Talk Live, and then hit 0 to leave your message.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, dial toll-free, join us right here. The number is 855-450-FREE. You can join us in these remaining moments. With you tonight, you've got me, Ian.
Melanie.
And Mark.
We've got Skype as well, so feel free to Skype into the show at Skype username LRN.FM. Hey, if you like what we're doing on Free Talk Live, that is bringing the ideas of liberty and peace to you and people around the globe and across the United States on over 160 great radio stations across the country. If you like that, if you think that's valuable, if you think it's worth, I don't know, the price of a fancy cup of coffee, $5 a month, then please get behind us with the AMP program. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. You get perks. You get access to the AMP-only call-in lines, the AMP-only Facebook group, the AMP-only podcast, which doesn't have the regular commercials that our normal podcast does. So you get some cool perks, and you can feel good because that $5 is being invested into Free Talk Live so we can get on more radio stations around the country and bring new people to the ideas of freedom. So you get all the perks, and you help Free Talk Live for $5 a month with any major credit card, PayPal, and Bitcoin. Go to ampamp.freetalklive.com. Let's talk to Sarah. She is in New Mexico. Hello, Sarah.
Yes, they want to stop the ART, the rapid transit now, because the federal funding with Donald Trump is going to be dried up, or we might not get the funding, or it'll be cut in half, or we get a third.
Okay, so this is something you've called about before. This is the art program, Albuquerque Rapid Transit. It was going to be federally funded to the tune of millions of dollars, and now you're saying that the funding is in jeopardy.
Well, the thing is, Obama, he's the one that approved the $69 million, the federal part of it. Yeah, without Trump, he's saying, well, I'm against transit, so I'm not going to give it.
Okay,
I
really don't like Trump, but I don't think that what Trump said is that he's against transit. I think that he's against stealing money to pay specifically for transit.
Well, because he's in favor of stealing money.
He's in favor of stealing money, but I think that he just doesn't want to give stolen money to transit.
Yeah,
which are two different things.
It's got to be very frustrating, Sarah, especially when this is your main source of transportation. But this is what happens when the chief executive switches positions. I mean, in one case, one executive can say, "Oh yeah, I like that. Let's do that," and then the next day he's gone and the new one's in power. And then that's really the difficulty of leaving something as important as transportation in the hands of the government.
That's a good point. And also, these government goons, they're a gang. They're a criminal gang. And if you make an agreement with a criminal gang and they renege on the agreement, you really shouldn't be surprised about that.
Well, the whole silly thing about it is that the rapid transit, the median is built. It's like half completed already. It's like we got half of the medians. It's been all tore up, new concrete poured in. And they're talking about undoing all of it and then turning it back into the way it was.
Okay, well, if it's completed already, then what do they need additional funding for?
She said the median is completed. So what this program is going to, as I recall the discussion we had in the past a couple of times about this with Sarah, we looked into it online, and as you might imagine, there's a lot of people who are against this project, namely the business owners who are on Route 66, which is where this is going to be taking place in Albuquerque. They're going to be, this road is going to be torn up for who knows how long this project is going to take. And so obviously a lot of business owners are worried about their going out of business because of it. So it's a boondoggle, and it's going to basically reduce the lanes of traffic in what is already a very big congested road. There's a lot of traffic on this road. They're talking about basically eliminating 3 lanes of traffic, as I understand it, in order to put in a trolley in the middle of the street, basically.
Yeah, but the whole thing about it is that the thing is half built already. That's the whole. Marco was laughing. I'm laughing.
Yeah, it's funny.
Fighting over this rapid transit for the last 3 years.
Okay, but if it's in the way, if I have a half-built shed in the middle of the highway, I need to move the shed because it's a highway.
Well, yeah. I mean, if the program doesn't get the funding, then Albuquerque's probably going to bail on it. I mean, if it's going to cost $70 million or whatever the number was. Or maybe 100, I forget, because I know that the federal government was going to come in with a good chunk of it, and then Albuquerque was also going to pony up some tax dollars for it as well. And if it turns out that it's going to cost them more than they were expecting, but yet it'll only cost X to tear the concrete out, then they're probably going to go with the tearing the concrete out if they can't justify the excessive costs.
We'll see how it goes.
Because supposedly New Mexico is a pretty poor place, and it's already a politically unpopular project, and I'm sure it will be very unpopular if they were to continue at doubling, if they all of a sudden have to double the local taxpayer cost to it. Sarah, thanks for your call tonight. I appreciate it. So back to the story from the AFP. What is Pussy Riot up to? They, after getting out of prison in Russia for a illegal performance in a church, they are now putting together an action-packed autobiographical theatrical piece. Maria Alyokina, one of the 2 key members of the group who went to prison, has taken Pussy Riot in a new avant-garde direction in an hour-long performance called Revolution that merges punk, electronica, theater, documentary footage, and plenty of snide references to Putin. Characterized by Alyokina as a living book, the piece is based on a memoir that she'll be publishing later this year. It kicks off with an allusion to Russia's Bolshevik takeover 100 years ago and a rhetorical question about whether her piece is about that revolution. She shouts, no, the one that is happening now, shouts in unison with actor Kirill, Konstantinov, before embarking on a frenetic account of the feminist collective since its founding in 2011. Alyokina and fellow member Nadezhda Tolokonnikova were charged with hooliganism. That's
hooliganism.
Charge.
Yeah, that's it.
That was the charge.
Sounds pretty accurate, too.
after they sneaked into a cathedral near the Kremlin and for less than a minute performed a punk prayer against Vladimir Putin. If Pussy Riot was about, and they went to prison, by the way, for like 2 years after that. If Pussy Riot was about shock tactics, Alokina in Revolution explains the intellectual underpinnings. Putin, the peace charges, have been transforming himself into an emperor through fraudulent elections. The Russian Orthodox Church, she charges, had become servants of the Tsar, with little to do besides selling elite porcelain eggs and replicas of imperial-era medals. Pussy Riot casts itself as a part of the history of revolution. Screen images shift from Eugene Delacroix's painting Liberty Leading the People to the goddess triumphantly raising the French tricolor to footage of Pussy Riot rising in Red Square to sing Putin has peed his pants. I'm using the nicer word there than what they use. Taking revolution to Russia, Pussy Riot's music, which earlier had the blunt force of punk, becomes more rhythmic and intense in Revolution. The music takes on the edge of digital hardcore groups such as Atari Teenage Riot as Pussy Riot teams up with the Russian duo Asian Women on the Telephone, whose saxophonist Nastia exhales from deep in her lungs over an energetic electronic backdrop. Alokina.
What am I getting out of this puff piece for this band?
Nothing. It's just an update on what Pussy Riot's up to.
Who cares? I'm so unimpressed with this, Ian. I expected them to be doing something, and they're putting on a show.
That's what they do. They're a band.
Yes.
That's what they do.
Now
they put
out
on
of
a show.
prison, band plays show.
Yeah.
That's the story? That's what you've been teasing all night? Look, thank God I'm back to save this show. Good Lord. Who cares? You just wanted to say Pussy Riot over and over again.
Alokina, 28, relives her detention in a penal colony in the Ural Mountains, where she recounts being disciplined for waking up at 5:45 a.m. instead of 5:20 and going on a hunger strike to protest her conditions. She ends the piece with a warning that freedom does not exist on its own. She says, "Fight for it every day." As part of her defiance, Alokina says she plans.
Of course, this socialist wants to take your freedoms away in a different way. Right. She wants a bigger prison with the kind of freedoms that she wants.
She wants the freedom from want, right? The classic socialist freedom.
Right. Her want, not yours. If you want to keep the money that you earned, sorry, sucker. But there's poor people to take care of, for God's sake.
As part of her defiance, Alokina says she plans to perform revolution in Russia shortly and is not thinking about the consequences. She says, quote, "We're living in the country where the Secret Service is ruling for 100 years. She said after the New York premiere of Revolution in an experimental music venue. She said further, quote, "I think we shouldn't play chess with them because they will win for sure. What we can do is be ourselves, believe in what we're doing, and love what we're doing." You know, regardless of whether or not you agree with their politics.
And I don't.
And I don't either. They're still an interesting group, and there aren't very many bands that can say, you know, they've been through what this particular band has been through. For all the tough band photos out there, these chicks went to prison.
Well, right, but it sounds like they were trespassing.
I'm interested in what they have to say about speech. If your church gets money from the government, it's no longer trespassing. I'm interested in what they have to say about speech and really nothing else.
We'll see you tomorrow night. There's a little more to the story. I'll post it on our Facebook and the Twitter, and we'll see you online in the meantime at freetalklive.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
The latest episode of Declare Your Independence is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darrell W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Monday, March 20th, 2017. Silver is trading at $17.39 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,231 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 1.1 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $1,052. Antiwar.com reports it's being called an insider attack in some reports, but an incident on Sunday in Afghanistan's southern Helmand district, in which 3 U.S. soldiers were shot and wounded by an Afghan soldier, does not appear to have involved an infiltrator as most previous incidents have. Colonel Mahmoud Rasul Zazeh, an Afghan army spokesman, insisted the soldier made a mistake and had not deliberately fired his gun. The soldier, as yet unidentified in public statements, was apparently killed in the incident. Because of the size of the Afghan military and its low pay, recruiting standards are very low, and this has allowed a number of Taliban to infiltrate, steal weapons, or use their access as soldiers to carry out attacks on the rest of the Afghan security forces. Attacks on NATO troops were a lot more common a few years ago, though rule changes now limit foreign troops' contact with the rank-and-file Afghan forces, which has meant most such insider incidents have been Afghan-on-Afghan violence. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports the Republican leader of the House Intelligence Committee, having reviewed information from the Department of Justice, said Sunday he has seen no evidence that the Obama administration wiretapped Trump Tower, as President Trump has claimed. Devin Nunes of California said in an interview on Fox News Sunday, "Was there a physical wiretap of Trump Tower? No, there never was." On Friday, the DOJ said it turned over information sought by congressional committees, which requested documents for any potential court orders or warrants related to Trump, his campaign surrogates, family, or friends. Nunes said he had seen no information of a foreign intelligence surveillance warrant to monitor Trump. If you take the president literally, it did not happen. He said there are possibly other surveillance activities, referring to the communications related to former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn that were leaked. Asked whether the committee had seen evidence of collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia, he said, "I'll give you a very simple answer: no." On March 4th, Trump made the wiretap allegations in a series of tweets. The White House has defended Trump's accusations, but broadened wiretapping to broad surveillance. Representative Adam Schiff of California, the Democrats' ranking member on the committee, said he expects FBI Director James Comey to deny Trump's claims at a hearing on Monday. Trump said to German Chancellor Angela Merkel during a joint news conference on Friday at the White House, "On wiretapping by this past administration, at least we have something in common, perhaps." The NSA allegedly monitored phone calls involving Merkel and her aides. Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? Then you need Spend-A-Bit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spend-A-Bit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co today. Bitcoin merchants, ask about our merchant suite to reach even more customers. Spendabit.co. Reuters reports members of the U.S. women's national ice hockey team threatening to boycott the World Championship over a wage dispute will meet with USA Hockey on Monday. Players from the defending world champions will meet USA Hockey executives in Philadelphia in an effort to sort out the impasse 2 days before training camp for the week-long tournament begins. U.S. forwards Jocelyn and Monique Lamoureux, Megan Dugan, Hillary Knight, Kendall Coyne, and defenseman Casey Bellamy will be at the morning meeting, according to John Langle, a lawyer for the players. Last week, the women's team said they would not report for training camp unless adequate progress in the dispute is made. USA Hockey then imposed a deadline of last Thursday for the team to decide whether to participate in the competition, which begins March 31st in Michigan, but the players opted to let the deadline pass. Players are under contract to USA Hockey only during years when the Winter Olympics are held and are seeking a deal that would compensate them during non-Olympic years. But USA Hockey has maintained that its role is to support players as they prepare for competitions, not to employ them. USA Hockey said last week the door remains open for a settlement and they are committed to resolving the dispute. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
When 16-year-old Jeffrey Patterson died in a car accident in February, he didn't just leave behind grieving friends and family, he also left a significant web presence. In a tribute to their son, Jeff's parents have continued to update their son's blogs and social media sites, including a blog called Shitbirds Everywhere.
Well, Jeff used his blog to make fun of stupid shitbirds. Yeah. And now that we're doing this, it's like part of him is still alive.
Yeah, and then when I post a picture of some shitbird who has a stupid ankle tattoo or wears some retarded hat, I feel like somewhere he's smiling.
He hated retarded hats so much.
Whenever we get a comment calling Jeff a dumb fag for making fun of a handicapped person on a rascal scooter, well, it's like he's still here. Jeff would have gotten such a kick out of that fat shitbird. He really would have.
This is the Onion News Network.
And now, live from the studios of Freedom's Phoenix, Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Today, let us make them remember. We are not afraid!
Yeah, no fear, no fear, no fear, no fear, no fear here, and declare your independence. Me, Ernest Hancock, here in Phoenix, Arizona, from the BEAUtiful studios of Freedoms of the Nest, Freedoms Phoenix. All right, we'll try it next hour. All right, Ben Stone, BenStoneBadQuaker.com, HoboSymbols.com. Oh, I didn't know about that one. BadQuaker.com is how we know Ben Stone mostly by. Next hour, we're going to have Scott Horton get us our weekly update on wars and rumors of wars and, playing the part. Oh, Paul Puey, Airbus, third hour. I didn't even know that. Donna hooked me up. All right, very cool. Some more Bitcoin stuff we need to get an update on because it looks like me and my son are going to go, get some more. There's a time we keep, we miss it by a little bit. We keep doing well. I think it's going to, to the moon again. So we'll go ahead and get a little bit more. The Ben Stone's going to talk to us about, well, let's tell you a little bit about Ben Stone. It's good to get his pretty picture up here. Oh, there he is. He's so pretty. All right. We have retired engineer, retired talk radio host, retired public speaker, published author. Ben has been an enemy of the state since 78. That should be a bumper sticker. And he's learned some stuff. BadQuaker.com is a website dedicated to the mission of liberty. It includes podcasts by Ben Stone, articles by a variety of contributors, and a forum where people can interact. The Bad Quaker podcast with Ben Stone can be found on Liberty Radio Network.
Does he have a podcast still? Hey, is he on Skype or Skype? I pushed the right button. Hey, Ben, are you still doing anything on LRN or something?
No, I'm not on LRN anymore. I'm not doing any recordings. I've kind of had my hands full here lately.
Oh, okay. Well, I had the headset. I go, ooh, is he back? That'd be awesome. All right. Well, we're all worse off because damn. All right. About freedom and bed and breakfast. So this freedom bed and breakfast thing, you got to tell me everything about it. Anything Ben Stone's doing is I'm on the edge of my seat. So go, man.
Yeah. So we have a team put together. The idea itself is an app. We'll have a website too. There actually is a website up, but we're grabbing a couple other domain names as we speak. But the team is made up of, the core of the team, I should say, is made up of me. I'm the spokesmodel, so I'm the Vanna White of the group. I'll be the one in the high heels and the sequin dress.
And
you can imagine that in your mind.
silky voice.
We have with us Jim Davidson, who is experienced in education, mining, real estate development, and business development. So he's the brains behind this thing. We have Dan Sullivan, who is a programming extraordinaire. He's doing the coding and the app development. We have the honor of having the great Derek Slopey working with us, and he's a professional computer and software engineer, and he runs Agrist Hosting. And then we have Jeremy with the last name that's hard to pronounce, so I just call him Jeremy Heisenberg. But he's our consultant and is there for testing and, in his words, to pick apart our ideas and tell us what we're doing wrong. Jeremy's great for that. And we're working in conjunction with that great company, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage, and I'm teasing because I'm not going to tell you exactly what their part in this is until a little bit later. But I want to explain what Freedom Bed and Breakfast is going to be.
All good guys that we know well. I'm okay. I'm on the edge of my seat. Tell me everything.
This is literally the A-team. I mean, these guys, this is the cream of the crop, the best of the best. So if you're familiar with Airbnb is a fine company, it appears to me, in every way.